Well, to steal a line, it's baseball time in Texas. Indeed, the rain has cleared, and we are set to go tonight. The Astros and the Rangers, the Silver Boot Series. Game one of our three-game series. Dallas Keuchel, former Cy Young Award winner, has the baseball tonight for the Astros. And HOU Darvish has the start for the Rangers. Great pitching matchup. The best ground ball guy in the business. The best strikeout pitcher in the business tonight. And this really should be a fun one. For a little more on HOU Darvish tonight, let's check in for the first time this evening with Emily Jones.
Yeah, HOU Darvish well aware of the importance of this series against the Astros. Of course, the Rangers seeing the Astros in the American League West standings, and pretty much chasing, everyone's chasing the Houston Astros, everyone in the American League and in Major League Baseball for that matter. But Darvish wants to be a steadying force. He wants to be a consistent force, especially considering all of the changes that have occurred within this starting rotation. He wants to be that guy that this team can count on, and so far, that's what's happened. Since opening day, Darvish has been very consistent for this team. They know what they're going to get when he's out there, and that's very important to him, not only as a starting pitcher, but as a teammate to these guys. He said it's important to begin this series with momentum, and that begins tonight with him on the mound. So Darvish taking this one very personally here tonight, a chance to set the tone for these teams in this Lone Star Series, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, Emily, and I agree. And he is the guy you want on the mound. We know the Rangers struggling here a little bit, and you come in, you play a red-hot Astros team, and the idea of having your ace, a guy who's had so much success against the Astros, that is certainly encouraging. These guys had to sit in that clubhouse for a little while longer than they wanted to, but they're pretty fired up knowing their ace is on the mound.
Well, we talked about HOU Darvish as one of the great strikeout pitchers in his generation. Our big story tonight, how about Clayton Kershaw? He got number 2,000 today. And Kershaw, one of the fastest to 2,000 strikeouts in his career. Only took him 1,836 innings. And Pedro Martinez, the quickest, 1715. Now, you and I were doing the math. It was,
I'm not going to guarantee that I had this right because I came up with a couple of different numbers. But if HOU Darvish stays on track and does what he has done so far in his career, now it's only been 884 strikeouts, so he's got a ways to go. He's done it in 715 innings. But if he was to continue the pace that he is on now, I think it would take him about 1,612 innings, which would make him the fastest all time. Now, of course, you get a little bit older, your strikeout rate's going to slow down a little bit. But as of now, HOU Darvish would be on pace to be the quickest ever to 2,000 strikeouts.
Well, we'll get those lineup cards exchanged at home plate. A big series for these two teams. Certainly, you could argue bigger for the Rangers. We're about 4 minutes away from getting started in this one. Gives us time now for the unlimited baseball break. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Whit Merrifield, 16-game hitting streak, hitting 400 on that streak. He continues to swing it well for the Kansas City Royals. What do you make of the note about Miguel Sano? His average exit velocity over 100 miles per hour. Look at that compared to the Major League average.
Yeah, this guy's crushing baseballs. We know this. When the ball's in play, when he puts it in play, he hits it hard. Now, we've never seen anybody go triple digits over the course of a season. Now, it's only been 3 years, of course, since we've had the StatCast data, but it tells you everything you need to know about him scoring balls off. Now, he's going to strike out as much as everybody else is these days in the game, but when he is making contact, he is lighting opposing pitchers up right now.
You also saw the note there, 6 teams in Major League Baseball playing at a 600 or better clip, but 3 of them are in the National League West Division. The Diamondbacks, the Rockies, and the Dodgers. That's a really interesting division. Meanwhile, one of the teams playing it better than a 600 clip, the Houston Astros, they're playing at a 704 clip. A.J. Hinch has them really right now clicking on all cylinders. Look at what they have done away from home. They have been every bit as tough, if not tougher, than any home team you'll face.
Yeah, they've been very good, and especially when you look at the offense and what they've done. Right, the old adage is try to go 500 on the road, 600 at home, and things will work out pretty well. Well, the Astros right now are crushing it on the road as well. You just wonder a little bit. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, throughout this series, but the new kind of veteran leadership and how important it was for A.J. Hinch to bring in some veteran guys. I wonder how much that's contributed maybe to some better play on the road and just helping guys out with their routines and what they want to do. Everything else that comes along with the big league lifestyle and playing on the road, maybe that has been a big contributor to what's happening with the Astros this year.
Well, they won 7 in a row, 9 of their last 10. Now they're coming off a series in Minneapolis. And look at this, 40 runs in a 3-game series against the Twins. That's the most in any series in their franchise's history. And we saw, I mean, they were putting up 11 runs in the 8th inning, 3 more in the 9th, some of those games. They can put together 1 through 9 some really challenging at-bats on a pitcher, and so that will make for a stiff test tonight for HOU Darvish. Now Darvish, as we know, has been pitching very well, and he is as good as you get right now with runners in scoring position this year. So when things get tough is when he seems to dial in the most. It will be tough tonight, probably from the get-go, and he is the right guy for the Rangers to have out there tonight. We take a look at the starting lineup for the Houston Astros. 38-16 overall. A dangerous George Springer in that leadoff spot, and he is a threat to go deep out of that leadoff spot. Radic, Altuve, Carlos Correa had a huge month at shortstop for this team, batting cleanup. Talk about some of the veterans there in the middle. Beltran, Brian McCann, some real steadying influences for the Astros. Bregman and Aoki down there at the bottom of the order. It's a very intriguing and intimidating lineup that the Astros run out there night to night.
Yeah, and they'll go up against HOU Darvish, and you take a look at the pitch arsenal for Darvish. That 4-seam fastball, heavy usage. It'll average around 94 miles an hour. You'll see it topping out 97, sometimes even 98. And the slider really is the go-to strikeout pitch for him. That sits around 83 miles an hour. It's got great depth to it. We've seen that pitch from him throughout the year. We'll take a look, too, also just his overall season numbers and what he has done. Those 72 strikeouts in 69 innings, a good number, without a doubt. They've actually been down a little bit here for Darvish. Nothing alarming. Great opponent's average against at just 204, and it has been another strong season for the Rangers ace. Now let's take a look at the defense here, which is delivered to you by New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Ryan Rua is going to be out there tonight in left, which makes a lot of sense. You want to get that right-handed bat against Dallas Keuchel. DeShields Chu finish out the outfield, and there's the 5-time Gold Glove winner Adrian Beltre, who has now been back in this Ranger lineup to go along with Elvis Andrews, Gugino Dor, and Mike Napoli, and Robinson Chirinos behind the plate. This has been kind of a consistent thing that we have seen Chirinos working with HOU Darvish.
All right, and with that, we're ready to get going. Rain delay tonight, a little better than 2 hours. But Darvish is set, so is George Springer. And we're going to be playing baseball. Now, this is a very anticipated series by both clubs. And Darvish fires in strike 1.
Now, you talked about it, and we never want to get to that point. I mean, listen, it's June 2nd. We're not going to talk about must-wins and gotta-have series and all that kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, the Rangers are behind right now. The Astros have been red hot, and so it is an important series, head-to-head matchups. Not do or die, but I think the Rangers, without a doubt, would like to get things turned around, and no better way to get that started here than against the Astros.
Well, these two clubs played 4 games at the beginning of the month of May down in Houston. The Astros took 3 of 4, and in doing so, stretched their lead at the time over the Rangers to, at one point, they're 9 games.
There's that nasty breaking ball from HOU Darvish. You see the great depth to it. Really knows how to use it and take advantage of a very aggressive hitter in George Springer, who is not afraid to let it fly.
Oh, tight. The Astros went on to have a huge month of May. I wouldn't say springboarding from that series. They were already playing well. And their lead now over the Rangers coming into tonight, 12 games. The Angels in between 11.5 games back. They're the closest right now to the Astros. So they certainly have what you would call a comfortable lead in this division. And A.J. Hinch lately has talked about, you know, looking a little beyond just a big division lead and a real nice season. He's talking about, hey, maybe this team could do something even bigger, like tying the all-time record for wins in a season or besting it. This one fouled away, and it stays 2-2 on Springer.
The '98 team was what, 102 wins?
102 wins
yeah,
in 1998.
I was on that team for most of the year, despite what Evan Grant wanted to make fun of before the game. But yeah, it was a really good team, but a team that fell short ultimately in the postseason, knocked out in the first round. So yeah, it's nice to win 102 games over the course of the season. This team certainly looks like they could be poised to break that record, but it's the damage you do in the postseason what matters the most.
Springer lifts this one out into right field. Chu racing on, and he'll get there. One away.
And the one thing you're going to see here too, because the outfield grass is going to be a little bit wet, when you have guys that have long runs after fly balls, you're going to see some gingerly steps kind of coming in. The grounds crew, of course, did a fantastic job here like they always do, but you're never going to be able to get that grass completely dry, and so guys are going to be a little bit more cautious, a little bit more careful with their steps, especially when you have those long runs and you're trying to do those choppy steps to slow it down.
Well, one out, and now the left-handed hitting Josh Reddick. A little late on that one. Reddick at 274 coming in, a little bit of power. He's reached base safely now in 10 straight games. And look, we always put the batting averages up under these players pretty much every game, every at bat. You'll see it somewhere on the screen. And most organizations, I think, when they really look at a player's value, they look elsewhere. They look at the on-base percentage. The Astros are fanatical in that regard. A .337 on base for Reddick. A little flare out to short, and Andrews puts it away. 2 gone. All right, now time for the TXU Energy power player to watch, and that is Jose Altuve. How about a .430 batting average on the road, best in baseball. Ichiro hit .405 on the road in 2004, and he's the only other player to do that in the big leagues since 1948, when Stan Musial did it. So rare territory.
It is, without a doubt. Again, talk about everything that comes along with the lifestyle on the road. Some tough flights. You're going to be tired. Yes, these guys have great amenities and charter flights and all that stuff. It doesn't mean you're not tired. It doesn't mean that it can be difficult sometimes to come into visiting ballparks night after night. So when you see guys that put up good numbers on the road, I think it is absolutely something worth noting, especially that number there at .430 has an absurd batting average in Little League. Forget about on the road in the big leagues.
Well, 2 gone. Nobody on base for Altuve. And a little check swing foul. Altuve 7th in the league in batting. He's 7th and on base. He's among the league leaders in a lot of offensive categories, per usual. That has become an annual right for Altuve and Astros fans to see their diminutive second baseman among the best in the game. 2 from Darvish. And that one flared out over short. A base hit for Altuve.
This is what makes Jose Altuve so difficult to finish off, even for great strikeout pitchers. You see the breaking ball, and it's located down well, but it's a short swing from Altuve. Even though he's aggressive, you see how he's just head down, not over swinging in that situation. Recognizes the breaking ball early enough, just kind of goes out there and slaps it. It's so tough to finish him off. He doesn't strike out very often. We know that. Just 34 times so far this season. Has never struck out 100 times in a year, and that's exactly why. He's one of the few guys that I think really gets the 2-strike approach here in baseball.
Well, and his base hit allows Correa to come to the plate in this first inning. Darvish running that fastball at 97 miles per hour, but a little off the edge. Yu Darvish, 30 years old. It's his 12th start of the year. And after allowing 4 runs on opening day, Darvish 5 wins, 3 losses, a .270 earned run average in his last 10 starts. And 7 times he has allowed 2 or fewer runs during that 10-game stretch. And he is unquestionably the team ace. And he gets a swing and a miss by Correa.
It tells you all you need to know, one, about the tightness of the breaking ball, but also about Carlos Correa sitting fastball in that situation. He saw 97 on the corner, just called the ball previously, so he's thinking 2-0. I'm probably getting a heater here. I got to get it started early, and you see the frustration on his part chasing a breaking ball out of the zone in a 2-0 count.
Altuve, who does like to run, small lead over there at first, but he is going, and the pitch swung on a miss. The throw down to second, not in time. That's the 11th stolen base for Jose Altuve.
You mentioned the short lead, and sometimes that could be an indicator that a base runner will be going. I've heard many base runners talk about actually taking that shorter lead when they're going, trying to deceive the pitcher. But it's the jump that matters, and it was a good one. And of course, Jose Altuve has the great speed as well, and the combination right there works out really well for him. Yu Darvish has now allowed 6 of the 7 attempted base stealers to be safe.
2-2 to Correa, and it misses low. Full count. Well, the Astros coming off that series against the Twins, where they scored 40 runs in the 3-game series. They went 30 for 40 with runners in scoring position. Are you kidding me? Well, they've got Altuve out there at second right now. And the full count pitch to Carlos Correa. And we'll see another one. Just underway tonight. Rain delay of a little more than 2 hours. Kind of started late. 69 degrees. Temperature fell quite a bit during that rainstorm. And a lot of Hardy fans stuck through it, waiting to see some baseball. Now they're being treated. 7th pitch of the at bat. And he strikes him out swinging. Correa down for the final out of the first.
It was a breaking ball, and Carlos Correa takes a huge hack and swings right through this, and Yu Darvish continues to dominance with runners in the right position.
Darvish with a big strikeout of Correa. Now the bottom of the first. Our Southwest starting lineup for the Rangers. 26 wins, 28 losses, and Chu continuing to do a great job out of that leadoff spot for Jeff Bannister. Then Andrews, Mr. Consistency. Lucroy Beltre back in there for a 4th straight game since coming off the DL. Delano to Shields with a start in center field tonight. You see batting 9th as the Rangers trying to load it up with as many right-handed hitters as possible against this guy, Dallas Keuchel. First pitch swinging and a slow roller out there to second base. Altuve on top of it, 1 away.
Let's take a quick look at the arsenal of Dallas Keuchel and what he'll be featuring tonight, has been featuring over the course of the season. You see the 2-seam fastball. That is it. That is the bread and butter. His ability to locate that pitch down and away, especially to right-handed hitters. But what sticks out compared to all these other pitchers that we look at, there's not a pitch that averages higher than 90 miles an hour from Dallas Keuchel, and he is a perfect example of a pitcher that pitches. And it might sound like a lazy phrase, but essentially meaning this is not a thrower. This is a guy that goes out and uses his stuff well. You don't even see necessarily even the huge, discrepancy between, his changeup and his fastball. And that's because, of course, they didn't throw particularly hard. That differential is not as big as we see maybe with a lot of other pitchers.
So that's the question that I have for you, right? I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter how hard you throw. Oftentimes we talk so much about that speed differential just being the case. You just want to keep guys off balance. But if a lot of your stuff comes in at a very similar speed, then ostensibly you wouldn't have that same deception. That doesn't seem to be the case in regard to Dallas Keuchel.
No, I mean, the numbers are still good. When you look at the differentials, they're just not huge. A lot of times when you have some of your softer tossers, those differentials will get a little bit bigger. But Dallas Keuchel is all about command. He's all about movement, and it's what it looks like, right? The radar gun is one thing. We'll sit there and you look and say, oh, he averages 89 miles an hour. That doesn't blow you away. Well, what does it look like when you're standing in there? And if you're a right-handed hitter and you're watching 2-seam fastballs get painted on the corner with heavy sink like that one, you can see why it might be difficult to hit.
He gets a couple of easy ground ball outs. When you look at the other guys on the list of, let's say, soft tossers, if you will. A lot of them pretty successful guys.
Yeah, now you had a knuckleballer, of course, at the top there in R.A. Dickey, but Kyle Hendricks had a monster season last year, and his fastball actually jumped a little bit better. He got off to a slow start in regard to velocity. That number will tick up a little bit for him, but these are, again, pitchers that pitch, and it's not just lefties. Hendricks and Tomlin and Triggs, of course, are all right-handed pitchers. A lot of times we say, okay, well, the guy's a soft tosser, must be some kind of soft tossing lefty. Not necessarily.
Jonathan Lucroy batting 3rd and acting as the DH tonight. So the on-base percentage up over 300 for Lucroy. 1 for 13, though, in the previous series against the Tampa Bay Rays. He had been getting on base with some regularity and driving the ball a little bit, but slowed down in those 3 games against Tampa Bay. Now ahead here, 2-0 against Dallas Keuchel.
And limited experience against Keuchel, just 3 at-bats. Does have a couple of hits, but we know Jonathan hits a lot of ground balls. We know Keuchel's a ground ball pitcher, so it becomes more likely if Keuchel's hitting his spots, will Jonathan find some holes on this infield? It'll be interesting again to see with the way that the field is right now, a little bit wetter, if maybe that could work to his advantage.
Three and 1. Lucroy had been batting cleanup on a pretty consistent basis. 13 straight starts batting cleanup, and is given away to Adrian Beltre, just recently off the disabled list. Now a full count. Mentioned today batting 3rd in that series against Tampa Bay. Nomar Mazara was in the 3-hole pretty much every game, and Lucroy batting 6th. So a slightly different look for him today, and maybe he'll get some better pitches to hit with Beltre behind him, and that can get him going again. Keuchel's payoff on the way. And a tapper right back to Keuchel over his head. Altuve has to hustle it, and he does. And he takes care of all 3 ground outs, helping Dallas Keuchel to an 11-pitch bottom of the 1st, no score. Go to the second tonight. Rangers fans, you can get $10 upper reserve box seats most Tuesdays all season long, courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest. And you can also add a $10 meal to your seats when you buy online. So go to texasrangers.com/specials and use the coupon code FSSW10 to reserve those $10 seats today. All right, Darvish got the strikeout of Correa to win the top of the first, and now his former teammate Carlos Beltran takes strike one. See Beltran's numbers a little lower than you're accustomed to seeing for him, at least things like batting average and on-base percentage. Still has that pretty good pop, 6 home runs so far this year. It's 1-2.
You think about Beltran being now 40 years old and what you realistically can expect from him from a production standpoint. I don't think he's probably that far off as far as what the Astros expected from him. Last year he hit right around 300. On base percentage was 337. You know it's going to come down a little bit. That 298 is on base so far. Probably not going to hold the rest of the year. You got to expect that would come up a little bit.
Speaking of going up, he went up after that one. That's a strikeout of Beltran. 1 away.
Carlos Beltran saw this fastball up and it looked good at first, but then he realized it was higher than he wanted, and certainly a pitch that he was not comfortable going after. But I don't know if I've seen a check swing like that where a hitter has missed the ball as much as Beltran did. He missed that, I don't know, by a good 8 to 10 inches as he was trying to check his swing but could not hold up.
It's Brian McCann to the plate. And there's that good slider for strike one. McCann at 248, and he recently was on the 7-day disabled list for concussion. Down 0-2. Prior to that stint on the disabled list, I mean, he was driving in runs like crazy, and among catchers, well, he was the best in the American League. 0-2, that one bounces away. Ooh, got him on the foot. And so McCann goes to first. Well, that's frustrating. You have 2 strikes. And Darvish plunked him.
And it's an 0-2 count, and Yu Darvish is trying to bury his slider down and in to get Brian McCann to swing over the top of it. And you see this ball just barely catch his back toe. And again, that's where the phrase comes from. Back foot slider. That's exactly where that ball hit him in his back foot. Now, somebody's trying to do. He's not trying to hit. That's a lot of beard right there, by the way, at first base. But not trying to hit him in that situation. You're going for the swing and the miss and trying to get him to chase. And unfortunately, Darvish just clipped that left foot of Brian McCann.
So McCann on now for Yulieski Gurriel. Look out, that one right by the chin. Woo.
Get a good look at Gurriel's hair after this one. This is a pitch that gets away from Yu Darvish. He's trying to go up a little bit, but certainly not that far in. And Gurriel sporting that. What was that thing in the pencil? Remember the pencils?
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what they were called? You would sit there and go back and forth in your hand, and then the hair would go crazy. Like Gurriel right there.
That's quite a thing. A 1-0 from Darvish, and it's 1-1.
Now, you know that Gurriel is going to be aggressive, and that's part of Yu Darvish running that fastball up and in to start off this at bat. He's seeing just 3 pitches per plate appearance. That's the worst in Major League Baseball. He's an aggressive swinger. We know there's a lot of aggressive swingers here, but this is a guy who does not go deep in the count. So Yu Darvish knows he can be aggressive to corners and also likes the idea of making him uncomfortable.
This one line foul. 1-2 the count. Darvish this year has had an unusual ability to get those ground balls for double plays. He has induced 8 ground ball double plays this year. That's 10th most in the American League. And this is after 10 ground ball double plays over a 3-year span coming in. The 1-2 This one hit sharply to third, grabbed by Beltre. So a line out, and there are 2 away.
And a hard line out at that. And we talked about how aggressive Gurriel is. And Robinson Chirinos goes out to talk to Darvish right now. But take a look at this breaking ball, and you'll be able to even see it from here. Hung up in the zone a little bit. Absolutely smoked. But Adrian Beltre was in the right place at the right time. We've seen a couple of these so far. A little bit early here, but you see HOU Darvish is out on the mound kind of tinkering right now here a little bit. But a couple of breaking balls that he's been a little bit late on, right? He's been a little bit behind, which means they've hung up in the zone. Even the strikeout of Carlos Correa was not exactly where he wanted it, so it looks like he may be trying to feel out that breaking ball a little bit here early.
Well, he's got 2 away now, and Brian McCann at first base. Here's Bregman, and the slider a little high.
Ted Barrett, a little bit of a tight zone tonight, at least so far. Hasn't called those pitches on the corner down and away. Dallas Keuchel didn't like a couple of non-calls. And now we're seeing here a couple with HOU Darvish, even at the top of the zone with that breaking ball. So he's going to make these pitchers work a little bit.
1-0 pitch, runner going. Pitch is a strike on the inside corner, and the throw down to second base, not in time. Boy, Brian McCann with his first stolen base of the year.
Well, this is all about HOU Darvish and not really about Brian McCann. And you see him just kind of walking off there, and HOU Darvish never had Brian McCann stop. Now, because he's not a runner, it is very easy to kind of forget about a guy like Brian McCann, but you want to make sure that whenever you see a guy leading that you at least make him stop. Brian McCann's best chance of stealing a base is getting somewhat of a running start, which he got there.
That's his second stolen base since 2012. So you talk about a surprise attack. I mean, that's it right there. McCann now in scoring position for Bregman, and he has worked himself ahead 2-1. Bregman on a little 4-game hitting streak, and there goes Chirinos to have a quick word. Darvish, you can see the body language easy to read.
We'll make sure they got their signs right, and then also obviously just talking about maybe what they want to do here against Bregman.
All right, our Kubota power stats tonight. Those numbers for Darvish with since 2016 opponents hitting just .210 against him. Very stingy. This year has been ridiculously stingy with runners in scoring position. The 2-1, and there's a strike.
You see that breaking ball there as well. See, we're end up finishing up on the inside part of the zone. HOU Darvish is trying to throw that ball down and away. We can see he's still kind of tinkering on the mound here a little bit. But look where Robinson Chirinos' glove is, and then ultimately where this pitch ends up. So not exactly what HOU Darvish is trying to do with that breaking ball.
Got a strikeout last inning to get out of the jam, and it's 2-2 to Bregman. Whoa, that's down in the dirt. Nice job by Chirinos to keep it close enough.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a release point issue here so far for HOU Darvish. He really throwing the ball well. Robinson Chirinos wanted this ball up. This ball ends up going way down and away. So still trying to feel it out here early on for HOU Darvish.
The second 3-ball count of the night. And the payoff to Bregman. And this one fouled away. Pretty good with runners in scoring position, generally speaking, and technically speaking, leans heavily on that strikeout.
Yeah, absolutely. HOU Darvish has been really good in big situations, really throughout the course of his career. But you see him specifically here now over the last 2 years. He knows how to finish hitters, and he also knows how to dial it up when there's runners in scoring position behind him.
Bregman 1 for 6 in his career against Darvish. A 3-2 pitch, and this one lifted out toward center field. Way up there. DeShields heads back. That ball carrying pretty well. Onto the warning track, but DeShields hauls it in to end the inning. So the Astros leave another man in scoring position. We've played 1.5, no score.
at Globe Life Park in Arlington. It is the Progressive Fan of the Game Time, and this one an easy call. Mr. and Mrs. Jeffrey Jennings just got married today. Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you.
Where'd you get married?
In Greenville.
So this is the start of the honeymoon, huh?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we're so excited for you guys, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
Guys, they just got married.
Well, that is awesome. What a way to start the honeymoon.
Awesome.
Out of the ballpark and catching a pitcher's duel. So far, no score. Bottom of the second inning. Adrian Beltre leading off in the second.
Oh, now that's interesting because based on what we saw earlier, maybe gives a little bit of a look back to Ted Barrett behind home plate. But in the first inning, Dallas Keuchel was not getting this call. And you see that's a good two-seamer. The ball is down and probably finishes a ball. So maybe Ted Barrett will start to open up the strike zone a little bit.
Bouncer third base side. Bregman across the diamond. And retires Beltre, one away.
Yeah, the first inning went so quick we didn't give it a chance to show you guys the Astros defense, and we'll be out there tonight behind Dallas Keuchel. You see the outfield right there, very athletic, a lot of coverage for the Astros when you look at that defense. On the left side of the infield, really the entire infield, very good. Bregman, Correa, Altuve, of course, the four-time All-Star. Gurriel at first. Brian McCann gets the All-Star bragging rights, so you see second there for him behind the plate. And after he stole that base, you should take a look at Alex Bregman. There's Brian McCann, but after he stole that base, who you mentioned, only a second since 2012, the Astros dugout went nuts watching Brian McCann steal that base as he pretty much caught everybody by surprise.
Well, Dallas Keuchel retired the first 4 Rangers he has seen, all of them on ground ball outs. And Odor takes ball 2. It does seem that even though it's only 4, now 5 batters in, the Rangers have gotten ahead of Keuchel. You know, sometimes 2-0 as the case is here, and yet he has come back and gotten the ground outs he's needed. There's a strike, 2-1.
Well, that's, you know, the added value of having such good movement on your fastball is that if you do fall behind, you don't have to split the plate. Now, Dallas Keuchel has excellent command. He can break the plate up into quarters even. We talk about a lot of times break it up in halves, break it up in thirds. He can get even smaller because of the great command, but it's the movement that allows these things to happen.
Well, bouncer again over to the third base side, and Odor gets right past the tag and is safe as Gurriel had to come off the bag. And A.J. Hinch is saying, hang on a second. My guys, take a look at this down at the clubhouse.
We'll take a look at this replay. Alex Bregman had an all-day, everyday kind of ground ball. And as they try to get the tag on Odor, looks like that's hard to tell from that one whether or not they actually got the foot on that tag. But the Astros feel like they have seen enough and they'd like to challenge it.
Yeah, I think from that angle that we just saw, and it would be very difficult for an umpire, Angel Hernandez, the umpire down at first, the man you see right there on the right of your screen. I don't know that he could have seen that glove hit Odor's foot in the air, but I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, this will be a much clearer view, I think, right here.
There.
Well, I don't know if that's clear enough for me or not. You think that's clear? Clear and convincing. This might be a good one. Yeah, it looks like the glove kind of changed direction. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it. I guess what you're looking for there is whether or not it is definitive. Yeah, one looks pretty good there.
That's the look to me that is probably going to turn this into a 5-3 putout.
Now we talk about head first slides into first base and how you get there slower. That's actually the time that it's okay to do. I'm not saying that Odor should have done it there, but that's the time you do it.
Well, indeed, they will overturn the initial call, and Odor is out. Yeah, at the beginning of each month, we get like a little State of the Union on replay review. And you can see that they have overturned this year 47% of challenged plays. That's the number. That's the one that Major League Baseball cares about the most. They want the reviews to be productive. And so it's less than 50% right now, which means, quite honestly, I think they would not be tickled with that. They want to see that number be well over 50.
Yeah, without a doubt. They also want to see the time come down. And you saw the minute and 32 seconds. That's an improvement from last year, which was a minute and 38, and a vast improvement from 2015, where it was a minute and 51 seconds per replay review. So yes, you want that number to come up as far as how often you're actually turning plays over, but then also in how long that it takes to get it done.
Keuchel got 3 ground balls to second base in the first inning. And he's gotten 2 ground balls to third base here in the second inning. The pitch to Napoli. It's 3-0. It looks as if he's just trying to test one infielder at a time, inning by inning.
Everybody gets a turn.
Yep. Second 3-ball count of the night. And he loses Napoli. Napoli's a guy who has really handled Keuchel well over the years, and so he did not challenge him. Puts him on base. And it'll bring up Ryan Rua.
And Rua is one of the few guys. You mentioned Mike Napoli and what he's done over the course of his career. 4 for 9, good for a 444 batting average. But how about Ryan Rua over the course of his career as well? 7 for 16 against Dallas Keuchel with a couple of doubles, a better than 400 batting average. And so it's a no-brainer that you want him in the lineup tonight. We see, of course, Nomar Mazara not in there. Joey Gallo not in there. Ryan Rua has been very good against Keuchel, and so he'll get his opportunity tonight.
So Keuchel with 4 straight misses to Napoli. Well, misses on his first offering to Rua. And there are those numbers you're just talking about. Off the handle, little flare to third, and Bregman able to change course and get back to make the play. So the inning is done. Rangers will leave a man, and we'll go to the third inning. Houston 0, Rangers 0. Along to the third inning tonight here at Globe Life Park. Tomorrow, 2:30, the Braves and Reds on Fox Sports 1. Then 6 o'clock on Fox. It's this matchup, Astros and Rangers. All starts tomorrow, 2:30 on FS1, and then at 6 o'clock on your local Fox station, or you can watch it live on Fox Sports Go. I'm so excited to have one of the national broadcasters with us for tonight's show. CJ Nitkowski. You excited about that one tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I slum it on my day job, but yeah, it's nice to get back to the limelight and get to some, real national level play-by-play guys. It's such a game changer.
Aoki leading off the third inning, and he takes a strike. Darvish has worked around a base runner in each of the first 2 frames, and he goes 1-1 on Aoki. Who's your partner tomorrow?
Justin Kutcher again. We did that game a couple of weeks ago in Detroit, and he and I will do it again tomorrow. I think I have got my full schedule, about 6 Ranger games that'll be on Fox or FS1 nationally that I'll have a chance to do this year.
1-2 now on Aoki, 9th place hitter for the Astros tonight.
You talk about stepping it up. I had one game I saw the schedule with Kenny Albert, buddy. It's a big one.
Hockey? Is it what
he may be coming straight from hockey. He is the hardest working play-by-play man in the game. I don't know how often. I was trying to think. Darvish and Aoki, how often they actually faced each other, because they were in different leagues. Or there's interleague in Japan, but it's a lot smaller. You may not have faced them too many times in the NPB.
Ball and 2 strikes on Aoki. Well, stateside, they've faced each other 3 times, and Darvish has won all 3 head-to-head matchups. This one served out to left field. And tracking it down out there, Ryan Rua. 1 away. So Lance McCullers will have the ball tomorrow for the Astros, the pitcher of the month, and really not a whole lot of debate about that. You have a sub-1 ERA as a starter. You're in pretty good shape.
He dominated, no 2 ways about it. It does not get any easier for the Rangers tomorrow. Obviously got Dallas Keuchel tonight, Lance McCullers tomorrow. And it is a legitimate 1-2 punch right now going on in Houston, which is being backed by some really good offense.
And out of the top of the batting order, and George Springer deemed to have held up on that check swing. Springer flying out in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. You see that note there. Big home run at Minnesota the other day. Second longest in all of baseball this season, as measured by StatCast.
And we've seen the ball. You and I heard a very interesting story today about Minnesota. I remember that ballpark open, and it was big, and the ball wasn't flying, and I thought this is a place where fly balls are going to go to die. Now, I kind of noticed the last couple of years, not only were there home runs, but there were some big home runs. It seemed like the ball was really flying out of Minnesota, kind of out of nowhere.
This one turned down that right field line foul.
And so you and I heard an interesting story. I had never heard it before. Jason Giambi played in Minnesota his first year, and ball wasn't going anywhere. First year the ballpark open, right? Ballpark's not going anywhere. The ball's not going anywhere. And he says, just give it a couple years. I guess he's got a background. His family's got a background in concrete. Giambi, background in concrete. Make your own assumptions from there. But so he said, wait a couple of years, and once the concrete settles, the ball's going to fly more.
Yeah. When it dries out.
When it dries out, when the concrete dries out, right? And you and I are looking at each other like, what? Well, sure enough.
Little roller third. Beltre with a charge, and he will not get off a throw. The play he has made so many times in his career. Beltre that time just didn't look like he got a great transfer, and with Springer running, that's a hit. He just thought better of it.
I think that might be part of it. Again, it's a little bit wet, so you got to come in a little bit more careful than you can when it's dry. And you see how Adrian, as he went to put his hand in his glove, actually caught a little bit of the outside of his glove, so he didn't have a clean enough exchange where he felt comfortable going for it. And once he didn't have that great grip on the ball with Springer running, he made the right choice there. A smart choice not to try to make something out of nothing and just let him have that base hit.
So Springer is on. He does have decent speed over there at first, and he's getting a pretty audacious lead.
But I was fascinated by that story today regarding Minnesota. They have all that beautiful limestone around the ballpark, and it's a gorgeous ballpark if you have never been. But it seems to be that his theory has reigned true.
Well, you know what? You hear a lot of different things year by year about ballparks. That one struck me as about the most absurd explanation I'd ever heard.
Now, he was coaching at the time, right? He wasn't playing. He didn't play there because he finished in Cleveland, right? He must have been coaching. Unless he was on the road coming. Let's see what the first year of that ballpark. Maybe it's just as a visitor.
Story's falling apart.
Yeah, he never.
By the moment.
He never put that uniform on. It must have been as a visitor when he walked in there in 2014.
So as a visitor, he walks in and he says to himself, he says, self, well, a lot of concrete here. That must be why this ballpark plays so big. But he says, I bet in a couple years it'll dry out, and man, this will be a bandbox. That just seems like poppycock to me. I mean, listen.
Something's going on there. The ball is carrying there without a doubt. The last couple of years, not even home runs, but big home runs. We just showed this. We'll kick this off with the conversation about George Springer and the 473-foot home run that he hit there. And I've seen a bunch of home runs that are going pretty incredible distances all of a sudden at that ballpark. Brian Dozier, monster season last year.
1-1 to count to Josh Reddick. A man on, one away. Top of the third inning. So then when we pressed a little further on that story, though, I said, yeah, but what's the logic? I mean, where's the real explanation here? The idea was that there would be less humidity in the air because the concrete dried out. Now, I'm really having trouble with that.
Oh, you're not buying it.
And I would just say this too, and I don't know this for a fact. I'm not a scientist, for crying out loud, but I thought back in the day there was something about humid air could actually keep the ball elevated a little longer.
Yeah, which is true.
Okay, so
the ball doesn't come down as fast.
Okay, so then drying out.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense that would assist in the offensive surge there. Hey, listen, maybe there's something there. This one ripped foul. It's 1-2.
Something's going on.
It's always easier to poke holes in stories and theories than it is to come up with good ones yourself.
That's
so
right.
I'll admit that right now, and I'm being that guy, and I don't mean to. But it is, as far as explanations go, fanciful, interesting, and certainly captures one's imagination.
Best one I've heard so far, as far as what's going on at Target Field.
Reddick waits patiently and fouls off yet another. Stays 1-2.
We see these Astros hitters really making Yu Darvish work. 53 pitches now through 3 1/3 innings, and we know they're aggressive. We know they swing a lot, but also they do a nice job of fouling balls off. And we saw Darvish a little bit early on having some issues with the breaking ball and some of his command, so the counts have gone deep as well, even though he hasn't walked the hitter yet.
Springer not going anywhere, and that breaking ball in the dirt. Good job by Chirinos to keep it in front of him. 2-2.
Really nice job here by Robinson Chirinos. Good breaking ball from Yu Darvish. Goes straight down. Just never know which way that ball is going to break when you're trying to block a breaking pitch, whether it be a slider or a curveball, whatever it may be. Because the ball is going to have different spin than, say, a fastball or a changeup. There's a chance it could kick left or right. Robinson does a nice job of smothering that ball.
Middle of the infield, double play depth. This will be the 7th pitch of the at bat to Reddick. And it comes way inside and all the way to the backstop. Makes for a full count. Springer advances on the wild pitch.
So the rotation is tight, without a doubt. This is a live breaking ball right now that Yu Darvish is throwing, but it is taking off on him maybe a little bit more than he would like it to. He's feeling it. The arm feels good, without a doubt. You can tell right now from Yu Darvish just having a little bit of a hard time kind of controlling it the way that he would like to.
So another runner in scoring position. This time it's Springer. One out. Reddick, who popped up in the first inning, he's 0 for 1. And the payoff pitch. Got him looking. Wow. Reddick put in some work in that at bat, but eventually frozen and takes strike 3. 2 away.
He's a guy that has always been known to know the strike zone well. I mentioned it earlier as far as what we've seen from Ted Barrett so far tonight, but I thought this was a pretty good call. Two-seam fastball, good action, not a lot of move, a little bit there from Robinson Chirinos, who did a really nice job, as you see the reaction from George Springer. Very animated player, but Josh Reddick thought he had it, Ted Barrett said, no, you do not.
One of the less emphatic bat flips I've seen in a while. He got started on 2 away. And here is Jose Altuve. Now, Darvish once again tonight has clamped down. The Astros 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position to this point, but it does get a little tougher here with Altuve.
And you're having the kind of year and really the kind of career that Jose Altuve has had. You start looking, you start digging into the data and say, okay, well, where are the best places to go with my fastball? What is the better breaking pitch to use? When you have those kinds of numbers, you don't find a lot of holes, and there certainly are not with Jose Altuve. But you do know this: he is very good at the fastball up. Over the last couple of years, whether it's up and in, up and away, up over the middle, better than 400 batting average across the board on fastballs that are up. So you'll likely see you, Darvish, try to keep that fastball down, although we know he can hit it. And there's really not one breaking ball that he's worse against than the other. That's the other thing, because Darvish throws both the curveball and the slider. Curveball batting average is above 300, and slider batting average is just below 300.
Well, ahead 3-0 in the count now. With Carlos Correa waiting on deck. Darvish, this will be his 60th pitch of the night. And that misses.
How about a 3-0 breaking ball there from you, Darvish, which for me is saying he wasn't comfortable throwing the fastball with the runner in scoring position right now, and he'd rather take his chance with the walk and go ahead and start over with Carlos Correa.
So Chirinos out yet again. I was going to ask you about Darvish. We've talked so much over the years about his repertoire, and it is extensive. How many pitches do you get to warm up in a bullpen typically as a starter?
Take what you want. Everybody's different. Some guys will, 20 to 25. Some guys will push it a little bit more than that. It's not max effort. A lot of guys have a routine, and everyone has a routine actually to some degree. And it could be okay. Three fastballs down the middle, 3 away, 3 inside. Then you go maybe to 2 or 3 of each of your breaking ball. Then you work a couple of hitters. But it could be anywhere from probably 25 on the low end to maybe 45 on the high end.
Correa takes a fastball for
but lower intensity for sure.
So I guess my question is, if you've got 6-7 pitches that you're hoping to command on any given night,
yeah.
I mean, how much work can you put into any one of those out in a bullpen warming up for a start?
Well, your warm-ups in your bullpen getting ready for the game are not actually tuning up every single one of your pitches. You could really get yourself into trouble trying to do that. It's about warming up your body, warming up your mechanics, feeling smooth. I don't think for you, Darvish, that he has to throw every single pitch to perfection and get it exactly where you want it before you leave that bullpen. Because if you do, you're right. That pitch count will get up there and he could be touching 50 or 60, which is not what you want before you head out to the game.
Well, he got Correa to in the first inning. And now with 2 men on but 2 out, a chance to get Correa again to get out of the third with 2 men on. Here he comes, and he got him swinging. 4th strikeout of the night for you, Darvish. And he strands 2 more. So off we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Robinson Chirinos will lead things off for the Rangers. Then Delano DeShields, and we'll turn it back over to the top and Shin-Soo Choo. Robinson, Chirinos, Delano DeShields, and then Shin-Soo Choo. Well, how about these fans? What a hardy bunch that has stuck around tonight through a 2-hour rain delay. Temperature dropped down into the 60s. They're waiting fireworks afterward. Good chance to get extra ice cream tonight.
Never too cold for ice cream.
No, sir.
Now, these guys, I'm really impressed with what we've seen from the Rangers fans tonight, because, I mean, 2-hour rain delay, I'll be honest with you, for me, might be taking it to the house as much as I saw it raining. And so credit to Rangers fans for sticking in there tonight. And they knew, right? Great night Friday night, great pitching matchup. They wanted to see it, but very impressive group that has hung around to watch this game.
Also a little tip of the cap to the grounds crew today. What an incredible job they did getting this thing ready. Field's beautiful. Weather right now is ideal. And the count is 1-1 on Robinson Chirinos. So a scoreless start to this thing. Rangers have had one base runner against Dallas Keuchel, and Chirinos rolls one toward the hole short. Backhand stop Correa. And you see that laser of an arm. He gets Chirinos one away. Well, tomorrow night, same two teams, Rangers, Astros, a 6:15 start. The first 10,000 fans to the ballpark will take home a Cole Hamels superhero bobblehead, courtesy of Jimmy John's Gourmet Sandwiches. Also, remember to wear your Rangers red. We're going to run out the ballpark. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. So one out now, and here is Delano DeShields, 9th place hitter. And he'll take one low and away for a ball. DeShields in center field tonight. And 1-1. Delano had been on a really good run up until lately. The last 5 games have been tough on him. One for his last 13. A lot of strikeouts in there as well, and he holds off and takes a strike on the inside corner. I'm not in love with that strike call there from Ted Barrett. Delano backed away. Keuchel, meanwhile, 6 ground balls so far, 1 line out, and he gets his first strikeout of the night as he takes care of DeShields.
You see some frustration there from Delano, and it's based on what happened the pitch before. When you question a called strike, and now you feel like you got to protect the plate with 2 strikes, you end up chasing a breaking ball out of the zone. And the difference between 1-2 and 2-1 is all the difference in the world. Delano was put into that 1-2 count. He felt it was unjustified. You see the frustration there after the strikeout.
Well, there you see Keuchel, as he typically does, really relying on the ground ball, and he pumps one into Choo for strike 1. And Choo has been an on-base machine lately for the Rangers, and they could use some base runners. 1-1.
Yeah, the idea of really breaking up this rhythm so far that Dallas Keuchel has been in would be ideal. We'll see how it goes second time now through the lineup. Just 1 walk. First time through with the first 9 hitters the Rangers brought to the plate.
Keuchel, the 2015 Cy Young Award winner. Last year, a down year. And it was one of those where many questions were asked. Very few solutions were proffered, but he just did not have it last year. Turns out he probably wasn't right at full strength. This year has been much different, and it's 2-2 on Shin-Soo Choo.
Yeah, it was a really big mystery to watch Dallas Keuchel come off of the monster season that he had, excuse me, in 2015, and then really all of a sudden struggle as bad as he did in 2016. Of course, the Cy Young Award winner back in that 15 season. But yeah, it does make some sense that he was not completely healthy.
Full count now on Choo.
And I mean, it was a huge year, 232 innings for him, which is a big number by today's standards. He's gotten himself back, and quite honestly, even looks a little bit better than he may have in 2015. Certainly right there on par with what he did in that monster season.
29 years old, leading the majors in wins at the moment. And HOU fights him off. Keeps it at 3-2.
Yeah, his command has been really good. He's been right at, right. He was at 2.1 per 9 coming into this game. Very good command, but he has not walked a left-handed hitter since last August. That's absurd. The last walk he had to a lefty was August 16, 2016.
Well, here's his next one right here. 7th pitch of the at bat. No, he gets HOU swinging. Second strikeout of the inning puts an end to the shenanigans. We'll go to the 4th inning. Still no score.
Told you, John. I'm telling you something. Oh, Great American Ballpark. That's been dry for a while.
Yeah, that thing
Plus
is
it's
a
tiny.
legitimate fan box.
Plus it's tiny.
All right, well, we go to the 4th inning here tonight, and the first pitch from Darvish blooped out into left field. Rua in a couple of steps, and one pitch, all that's needed to retire Carlos Beltran.
And certainly HOU Darvish should take a couple more of those. Would be nice. You see the pitch count coming into this inning at 63, so better than 20 pitches per inning so far here for HOU Darvish, who this season has averaged right around 16 innings. Excuse me, 16 pitches per inning. You see it right there. That 24 really contributed. So a quick one would be nice here, and that's certainly a great way to start it for Darvish.
Now to McCann, and he puts one right in there for a strike. McCann, you remember, fell behind 0-2 when he came up in the 2nd inning, and then took a slider off his back foot. Went to first base. 1-1 the count. And then just when everybody thought that foot was hurting too much for him to use that incredible speed of his, McCann stole a base.
Maybe that was part of it as well, right? So, we just got hit on the foot. Hasn't stolen a base since 2012. We can just ignore him, but Brian McCann had other plans.
Hits this ball hard out to the gap left center field. Rua on the run, and he'll pick it up on a hop. Into second base it goes, and McCann is in there. Rua, really good job of cutting that one off on one hop, but then not in a great position to get a good throw back to second base. So McCann will have a double.
Take a look at this here, and it's a changeup from Yu Darvish, and it's a good swing here from Brian McCann, who found himself a big gap in left center field, and part of that was because Delano DeShields was actually shaded to right, and Ryan Rua turned and threw that ball, wanted to get it in quickly, which was a good idea, but you see how far offline that throw actually was. I think if he took his time, and I know he's thinking get the ball in as quickly as possible, but had he had planted and made an accurate throw, I think they would have been able to easily nail Brian McCann. I was actually surprised he went for 2 there.
Well, a little bit surprised myself, and even if they don't necessarily nail him, if he picks up Rua getting in a position to make a good throw, maybe he at the very least retreats to first. But as it turns out, McCann able to get into second base, and once again the Astros have a runner in scoring position. They've had that in every inning so far.
And 0 for 4 in those opportunities, so that's been the good news, and we've talked a lot about how Yu Darvish has been great in that area. 0.93 of runners in scoring position coming into tonight, second best in baseball to his teammate Andrew Kashner, who has been the best at 0.79. So Rangers starting pitchers have done an excellent job every time they get these spots here with runners in scoring position, but Astro hitters also working Yu Darvish pretty hard.
1 ball, 1 strike to Gurriel. And that one up near the chin again. Remember, Darvish took Gurriel's helmet off in the second inning when he came up and in with some heat. Gurriel eventually lined out to third base. Now he is 1 for 2 against Darvish in his career. And a good breaking ball for a strike, evens the count.
Remember, Darvish got in a little bit of trouble when he left the breaking ball up to Gurriel in his first at bat, hit that hard line drive to Adrian Beltre. This one a little bit better. See the tight break. Still kind of slipped back over the middle of the plate though.
2-2. Ooh, he got him looking. 5th strikeout of the night for Darvish.
Opposing hitters should know this. Robinson Chirinos cannot be trusted. You see where he gave the target, and he kind of does this a lot, and he's done this already a couple of times this game. And I say that jokingly because he'll change his target. He actually put the target up high, hoping that maybe he would catch Gurriel, just maybe peeking a little bit or seeing it as peripheral, and then they actually throw the ball down. And it looks like when you see Gurriel, who's a very aggressive swinger, looks like he may have been guessing in that situation or even bought into maybe what Robinson Chirinos was selling.
So now 2 gone for Alex Bregman. McCann out there at second base. And Darvish gets one in there for strike 1.
Second time he started him off with a breaking ball that was a little up that Bregman necessarily didn't like. But Bregman's got his own little streak going, very similar to Dallas Keuchel. He hasn't walked in his last 66 plate appearances, so he is right in there with this theme of aggressive Astros starting pitchers, and I guess actually make it 67 because he flew out in his first at bat, that ball they carried, but he's not been walking very much at all.
And he's in a hole 0-2. He flied out to center field in the second. Well, Darvish stranded a man at second in the first inning. Did the same thing in the second inning. He stranded 2 runners in the third inning, and once again here in the fourth inning with a man at second base. And walking the high wire tonight. The 0-2. Ooh, and it's low.
So they do that for show there. You see that pitch, that fastball that is down. But take a look at this with Alex Bregman. Very opposite of what we talked about with Jose Altuve. Look at across the top. That's something we see, of course, with Mike Trout. But look at that 476. Tells you he's very good on the fastballs down and away. But go ahead and elevate. They're not zeros. He's gotten hits up there before. But the idea of elevating the fastball, Robinson Chirinos is sitting right now, and then lying to us once again with all the trickery that goes on with Robinson. But that seems like if you're going to try to finish Alex Bregman with a fastball, that's where you want to do it. I find that that's the value in those kind of numbers. It's not to say you always throw a fastball up there. But when you know you really want to finish a guy with the fastball, where has he been the most weak? And for Bregman, that means up in the zone.
Well, the 2-2. And there is the high fastball. Struck him out. And Darvish once again leaves a runner out in scoring position. He's used the strikeout a lot tonight. That's 6 of them so far through 4 innings. And he's dodged some bullets as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Bottom of the 4th inning. Now we want you to come out to the ballpark on Sunday. The Rangers and the Astros final game of this 3-game series. The first 7,500 kids 13 and under will take home an Adrian Beltre replica Gold Glove courtesy of Powerade Zero. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972 Rangers. A big weekend this weekend here. Trying to red out the ballpark Friday, Saturday, Sunday with the Astros here. Tonight, fireworks. Tomorrow, the Cole Hamels superhero bobblehead. Sunday, Adrian Beltre's replica Gold Glove. Lots going on. Andrus grounded out in the 1st inning. 0 for 1. It'll be Andrus, Jonathan Lucroy, and Adrian Beltre here in the 4th against Dallas Keuchel. A little tight. Darvish has racked up the strikeouts so far tonight. Keuchel is very quietly going about his business, and he's been getting a lot of ground ball outs. And there's a ground ball down to 3rd, but just foul.
See this ground ball here, just hitting foul and finishing on the foul side of 3rd base. But Alex Bregman does the right thing, right? He sees that ball. He knows that it's probably foul, but you absolutely continue to play it out, make the throw just in case an umpire makes a bad call, right? Because remember, anything in front of the base is not reviewable. So if the umpire makes a bad call in that spot, you're going to make sure you make the throw. Don't assume on any close play that an umpire is going to call it the way that you see it.
So now 1 and 2 on Andrus. And that one off the plate.
Well, stare there from Dallas Keuchel. I kind of agree with Ted Barrett on that one. That was a ball just off the plate. But you do that sometimes too. Again, not that you can influence an umpire, but maybe just a little bit. And Dallas Keuchel, I think, has the respect of umpires because he lives around the strike zone so much that maybe he can get him to open that up a little bit.
And he backdoors Andrus for strike 3. That's 3 straight strikeouts now for Keuchel. 1 away in the 4th inning.
Well, it went from a ton of ground balls to all of a sudden a steady string of strikeouts here from Dallas Keuchel. And here's the curveball, and a backdoor curveball at that is perfectly located. That pitches the ball almost the entire way. Elvis Andrus does not see that as a strike until the very end as it crosses the plate, and he just kind of nods his head and says, yeah, it's a good pitch. And there wasn't a lot he could do with that one.
Keuchel is retired 5 consecutive hitters now. 2nd time tonight that he has done that. And his first offering to Lucroy in there for a strike. He got the first 5 of the game. And then Napoli walked on 4 pitches. And then Keuchel has retired the next 5. Oh, didn't miss by much. 1-1 the count. And we mentioned what Keuchel has done in the past this year. The earned run average, second best in the American League. Batting average against it, 187, also second best in the league. He just misses again. It's 2-1. He's certainly back to the form that led him to the Cy Young Award in 2015. With a disappointing year in between. Disappointing by his standards anyway. This one line foul. 2-2. Keuchel is 8-0, and he's working on a 10-game winning streak going back to last year. Full count on Lucroy.
Dallas Keuchel trying to finish Lucroy off with a fastball, and the idea of maybe freezing him, but that pitch actually serves a couple of purposes, because it's also making Jonathan move his feet a little bit. When Dallas Keuchel lives outside the way he does to right-handed hitters, you do have to throw them inside once in a while to keep them honest, make sure they're not leaning out over the plate too much.
3-2 pitch, and that one bounced down to first. Gurriel right there for it, and there are 2 away. Talking about getting a lot of wins lately. Talk about that low earned run average that has him second in the league. Puts him in some rare company.
You see that there. Undefeated with an ERA under 2 through your first 10 games. And there's Dallas Keuchel with that 8-0 record. The most wins of the group. And that is some pretty good company. Loved Ron Guidry as a kid. Until I started liking Dave Righetti. But he was my first go-to lefty. And then Dave Righetti threw that no-hitter, and that was not a Dave Righetti guy.
So now Beltre with 2 outs and nobody on. Bottom of the 4th inning. No score in this one tonight.
I know you and I were in a great position where we get to be around this game at the plate and call it and meet some pretty awesome people, like guys we looked up to as a kid. I mentioned Dave Righetti. I actually got to pitch against him.
What?
You can believe that.
Old timers game?
At the very end of his career, in the very beginning of mine, he was actually trying to make a comeback. I believe he was in AAA with the White Sox, if memory serves. And I just got into AAA with the Reds, and we went head-to-head in a game. You can believe that.
Beltre smashes that one, but foul for strike 2. Did you get a chance to talk to him?
So the next day, I walk out there through 7 shutout innings. I was super excited. I wasn't even a full year in baseball. I see him out running his poles on the track. I go out there like a dummy bugging him while he's in the middle of doing his work. And I'm just like bumbling. It's, oh man, just so excited to meet you, pitch against you. He could not have been any nicer in that moment. It was a really cool one for me. So then he actually said to me, man, keep pitching the way that you just were. And you did against me last night. You'll find yourself in the big leagues in no time. And actually got called up like 2 days later. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, I had him sign a baseball for me. I still have it. 1995.
Keuchel's 2-2 to Adrian Beltre. This one lifted down the right field line. Reddick over there and foul ground, and that actually bounces fair. He completely whiffed it, and Beltre is in at second base with a double. Reddick is a very aggressive outfielder at times, and he just assumed that thing was going into that little sliver of foul ground and overran it.
Yeah, it looked like you could almost see it coming a little bit here, and you expect this ball to keep slicing coming off the bat of a right-hander. And we know this too, is that Josh Reddick is a very good outfielder, but look how far in foul territory he is, and that ball actually landed fair. I think he made the assumption that that ball was going to continue and kind of just fade into the seats, and he misread it. And what a way to break up the no-hitter here against Dallas Keuchel.
And for the first time tonight, the Rangers have a man in scoring position. So Beltre out there at second base. And the pitch to Odor, bouncer first base side, foul.
That's a good glove for Josh Reddick. We know he plays a very good right field, so it's surprising to see him not only just misplay that ball, but by a pretty significant amount. The Rangers will take it. It's a double for Beltre, and like you mentioned, now runner scoring position, and for the first time tonight, Dallas Keuchel has his back against the wall.
Well, it's hit number 2,947 for Adrian Beltre, keeping closer still to Willie Keeler for 33rd place all time. A little bit tight, 1-1 on Rougned Odor. Now this is the thing now where Beltre is historically. Every hit matters, and then what kind of hit will continue to matter. That extra base hit for him, 1,075. He's tied with Reggie Jackson, 24th all time.
And by the way, the first extra base hit that Dallas Keuchel has allowed in over 20 innings. So coming into tonight, he had a 17-inning streak where he had not allowed an extra base hit. So add on his 3 2/3, and he was at 20 2/3 innings without allowing an extra base hit. And not exactly how we probably expected that to end, but again, the Rangers will take it.
Now, Rangers are making Keuchel work a little bit in this 4th inning. This will be his 20th pitch of the inning. 2 outs. Beltre at second. And Odor swings and misses. That's strike 3. So the inning is done. A couple of strikeouts for Keuchel in the 4th. No hitter is gone. We go to the 5th inning, no score.
As we head to the 5th here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Yu Darvish facing Nori Aoki. The two, as the boys in the booth have talked about, have a relationship and actually had dinner last night at Darvish's house. Usually they said Darvish's wife Seiko cooks, but instead it was Darvish who did the cooking last night. A good steak dinner for his good friend. You know, maybe slip something in there to mess things up for Nori in the batter's box tonight. You never know, guys.
Slip him a Mickey?
I mean, that's what I would do. Now listen, it's the Astros, right? It doesn't matter, friends or not. It's go time. Another invitation I haven't gotten yet. Dinner at Darvish's would be nice. I'm in. Just throw it out there.
Don't hold your breath. Here is Aoki. Looking a little sluggish after all that red meat last night. Flied out in the 3rd inning. Oh, see, he's doing so much better on the road. Might be the meals. Hits this ball hard on the ground. Wow. Oh, wicked hop there for Odor, and he takes care of Aoki. 1 away.
This ball was hit hard, but right at Newton-Odor, and you see him there. Does a perfect job of playing that hot bait and kind of continuing to watch the runner after he feels it. But yeah, his ball was squared up with a perfect one hopper and a perfect throw.
1 away and out of the top of the order. That was the first ground ball out for Darvish tonight. Partly because he's been getting so many strikeouts. This little pop-up might be playable. Odor way over, and that's about 2, maybe 3 rows up.
Well, as much as we talk about Dallas Keuchel and his great ground ball rate, 67% coming into tonight. You see Darvish there, 6 and 6 on the strikeouts and the flyouts, but just the one ground out. That's not really part of his game. 38% ground ball rate, which is very low. League average is right around 44, 45%. And the great strikeout pitchers rarely are ground ball pitchers as well, right? If you're a ground ball pitcher, it means you got good movement, but you're also throwing a lot of contact pitches and you're getting guys to hit the top half of the baseball. It's more often than not that your good strikeout pitchers are also fly ball pitchers.
Springer goes up after one of those good fastballs. 0-2 the count.
Tell you what, I wouldn't mess around. Go back up there again. You see the frustration. He is the guy who does not hit the high fastball particularly well. Does have a couple of home runs there over the last couple of years, but I go based on what you see from the hitter. A lot of times we talk about reading swings. We'll see what Darvish decides to do.
Oh, check that swing up. No appeal. 1-2 the count.
And Ted Barrett flinched a little bit too on that one, almost as if he was thinking about maybe calling that a called third strike 3. Let's watch Ted Barrett here. A little, yeah, no, close.
They did want it up, and they got it up right on the top of the strike zone, and Springer is out looking.
And you see George Springer showing some frustration. What I like about George Springer is he plays baseball like a little kid. I don't say that in a bad way, right? It's the same kind of energy and animation, but he probably thought to himself that he did a really good job of laying off of this pitch after he had chased one earlier. And you see him turn around and say, what? Like he's thinking, man, I just laid off what he thought was a ball. But you see Robinson Chirinos, I mean, he hit the glove. Maybe a little bit in, but I'll take it. You Darvish will take it. Oh, okay. That's when you got away with one, that might be the reaction. I actually like the 0-2 pitch better. I thought that was more of a strike, but whatever it takes.
Now, Josh Reddick. Reddick 0 for 2. He has popped up and also struck out looking. 7 strikeouts so far tonight for Darvish.
Reddick is a very good low ball hitter. We talked about these guys that have struggled up in the zone. He's kind of the opposite of some of these hitters in this Astros lineup. Fastballs in the bottom half of the zone, even middle. He's been very good over the last couple of seasons.
One and 2. So both starters tonight. We build this thing as a good pitching matchup tonight. One in Darvish, one of the great strikeout pitchers right now in the game. One in Dallas Keuchel, clearly one of the best all-round pitchers, but ground ball pitchers for certain in the game. And they have lived up to the billing. Darvish looking for strikeout number 8. And he just misses it. A little low, 2-2. Reddick doing his best work at home. And closer to 250 on the road this year. The 2-2 pitch. And that one loops way off the plate. Darvish has had to pitch around not just a base runner, but a base runner in scoring position every inning so far. He has retired the first 2 in this 5th inning. If he can get Reddick, it would be his first perfect inning of the night. Popped up. Third base side. Beltre is over, but no room. So Reddick battling again here. He has put some decent at bats on Darvish so far. This will force the 90th pitch of the night for you. Will also be the 7th pitch of the at bat. Well, we'll see an 8th.
He's done a nice job. I mentioned it earlier. There's a handful of these Astros hitters that have done a nice job of making things difficult here for you, Darvish, with the foul balls. And Josh Reddick now has been another one of those, driving that pitch count up. 91st pitch coming here in just the top of the 5th inning.
Ground ball, and that one is through. A base hit for Reddick. He takes an aggressive turn, but will hold as Chu hustles it back in. So an 8-pitch at bat by Josh Reddick, and it results in a base hit, and it gets Jose Altuve to the plate.
Credit Reddick with a good at bat here and working it to the point where he gets himself a fastball that he can handle over the middle of the plate on that 8th pitch. Drives that ball right up the middle. Good approach, good at bat all the way around for Reddick.
Chirinos again out there to have a quick word with Darvish. We saw that from the get-go tonight.
Well, I think it becomes about the game plan that's already in place. They talked about it, but then also, you know, what they have seen from Jose Altuve so far tonight with the base hit and the walk, and how they want to approach this, and maybe for Robinson, if there's anything he has seen or maybe feels more comfortable going to now with Altuve up with 2 outs.
Altuve lines it right by short, and that one is into left center. Reddick into third base. They're stopping him there. A double for Jose Altuve. Yeah, so the Astros have set it up 2nd and 3rd, but with 2 out in the inning.
Jose Altuve did not wait around and gets a first pitch breaking ball, one that's pretty well located, but you see the swing as he's right on top of this pitch right away, and because of the way that the outfield and infield defenses were situated, this ends up turning into a double just out of the reach of Elvis Andrus as he dives for that ball. And then the outfield for the most part was pretty straight up. You see Delano DeShields there in the background sprinting, doing a nice job making sure they get that ball in.
Altuve a good night at the plate, 2 for 2 with a walk. And he's put the Astros in a very good spot here for Carlos Correa. The Astros 0 for 6 so far tonight with runners in scoring position. Correa has struck out his first 2 times up with runners in scoring position. Darvish got him swinging in the first with Altuve at second. He got him swinging again in the 3rd inning when it was Springer at second and Altuve at first. He has 7 strikeouts tonight and could use one here. One and one.
That's the 2nd time tonight we have seen Carlos Correa ahead in the count. First it was 2-0 a couple of bats ago, and now 1-0 in this one, where he cannot lay off of that slider that is out of the zone. He gets into swing mode in a fastball count, and like I said earlier, he knows he's got to get started early against a good velocity, but it's cost him because he has not been able to pick up that slider spin.
Correa's been on a nice streak lately, and he hits this ball well out to left field. Rua going back, he's at the wall, and that one is gone. A 3-run homer for Carlos Correa. And the Astros get on the board first tonight.
Well, after a couple of tough at-bats for Carlos Correa, which both ended in strikeouts in the first and the third inning, he's able to catch a breaking ball out front. Now, we chased the one in the dirt earlier, but this one catches much more of the plate. Robinson Trinos has the glove down, but the ball ends up finishing up. And you see Correa, his reaction as soon as he hit this, he felt like it had a pretty good chance to get out, and it did.
Now Beltran 0 for 2. So Correa, that extends his hitting streak to 8 games. It's also now 4 straight games in which he has hit a home run. Look out, that one got away from Darvish. 1-1 the count. So 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Astros. They have stranded 5. Rangers haven't had many opportunities at all against Dallas Keuchel. No runs, 1 hit. No errors. They have left 2. And this ball hit hard on the ground, and that one up the middle for a base hit. So Beltran is on. All this happening with 2 outs. 2 outs to start the inning, but Reddick with a base hit. Altuve with the double. Correa with the 3-run homer, and now the Beltran single. Dylan G getting ready. .98 pitches now for Darvish. Brocale out there. He and Chirinos having a word.
It becomes now just a matter of slowing Yu Darvish down a little bit, getting him refocused. You mentioned 2 quick outs, and then all of a sudden 4 hits in a row, including the big home run from Carlos Correa. And so now it's slow down, calm down, hit a spot, try to get yourself out of this inning.
So here's McCann. He's been hit by a pitch and he has doubled. Darvish having a little trouble right now commanding his fastball, at least his last couple of at bats. This next pitch will be number 100 tonight on a very humid night. It's not just that he's thrown 100 pitches, but that he's done it in 5 innings. They've been, you know, big, stressful innings for him all night.
It started to look up too, especially when we saw Aoki with just the first pitch out, right? And that ground ball, and the idea of maybe keeping pitch counts down for Yu Darvish, but has not happened for him. 3
infielders on the right with McCann up there, and it's in the dirt. 3-0. Three runs are in on the Correa homer, his 10th of the year. Beltran followed with that base hit. And that's in there for a strike. 3-1. I want to say congratulations to the Albany Lions. They won their regional today in Lubbock, and they are headed to the Class 2A Baseball State Tournament next weekend. Congratulations to Albany and the boys. Great job. Full count now on McCann.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to see and hear about some of the great youth baseball that's going on here, but those high school tournaments always fun, always exciting. 2A baseball doesn't matter. 2A, 6A, 15A, it's all a big deal. You get that chance to win one, get that for the rest of your life.
Runner going from first, and there's a swing and a miss by McCann. 8th strikeout for Yu Darvish, but he's touched for the first time tonight for 3 runs on the Correa homer. Halfway there, we go to the bottom of the 5th. 3-0 Astros. well laid out in front of them now. Trailing the Astros 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Friday night, opening game in a 3-game weekend series. Great in-state rival. This has become a wonderful rivalry. Now both teams in the same division in the American League. Astros transferring from the National League to the American League in the 2013 season. You know, we've seen teams change leagues before. Milwaukee Brewers did it. But the Astros leaving the National League, it's the first time in the history of the National League that anybody ever left. This one fouled back out of play. 0-2. And count on Mike Napoli.
That's it. That's the first time a team has ever left the National League.
First and only time it's ever happened.
Really?
Really rather unprecedented maneuver. Made it, of course, 15-team leagues, mandating daily interleague play because of the odd number of teams in each league. Keuchel's 0-2, and it's off the plate.
Yeah, that's the downside to that. I mean, I understand. I like the idea of 15 and 15. I get it. But interleague every day means that there are certain teams, obviously opening day is going to be interleague, and the last games of the season, and ones that could end up really mattering.
High fly ball center field. Springer to his left. One away. All right, time for us to take a Chevy game break. Let's check in with John Radigan.
Left fielder Ryan Rua.
Wow.
12-7. Things getting ugly there in New York with the Mets. Mr. Met had a rough week.
You're not even talking about Mr. Met.
He had a rough week. I'm talking about on the field. Mr. Met had a rough week. They're visiting Bat Boy on the visiting side. Had a rough week. Did not get out of the way. Went in the opposite direction. He picked up his stool sitting down the line, the ball boy. And instead of moving away from the action, he actually ran right into the middle of it and banged into Wilmer Flores, who was trying to catch a routine pop-up in foul territory.
Bad form.
If you haven't seen it, go look at it, because my favorite part of that highlight was not only did he run into Wilmer Flores while he was holding the stool, he just kept going and then went down the tunnel and just kind of disappeared because he knew he was in a little bit of trouble. Oh, and by the way, they lost 12-7. That's also
to a Pirates team that, by the way, you saw the standings there. They're 4.5 back in the National League Central Division. They're in last place in that division, but only 4.5 back.
We'll see if they can hang in there. I think you look at that division, you expect the Cubs to get it going a little bit, although they have struggled, and maybe they don't.
Rua takes a called strike 3. 2 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
I think you expect the Cardinals to be playing a little bit better as well. And although they've been playing some better baseball, I think as of late, they're sitting at an even 500. So yes, the Pirates are only 4.5 back, but they are in last place. Right? So it's just a matter of kind of what happens the rest of the way. And for me, I believe the Cardinals and the Cubs still probably battle this thing out when it's all said and done.
Well, 2 gone here. Rangers trailing by 3, and Chirinos swings right over the top of that changeup for strike 1.
When you see Dallas Keuchel pitching the way that he is tonight, it really is a very simple formula. It's not simple to execute, but it's not necessarily complex, right? It's 2 seam fastballs away. It's mixing in that changeup that you saw right there occasionally, and then doing this where he pops guys inside.
Chirinos out to short left field, and Aoki is there, and it completes a 1-2-3 inning for Dallas Keuchel. He's in control tonight, and we go to the 6th inning. yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by North Texas Ford. The Great American Sales Event is happening now at your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas.
The bottom of the 5th inning here in Arlington. Excuse me, top of the 5th inning, top of the 6th. I'll get that right. Here we go. Let's start over. How about this? Rangers Authentics is your home for the highest quality, most exclusive Rangers memorabilia. Offerings include game-used equipment, jerseys worn by players, and more. A portion of all proceeds will be donated to the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation. Make sure you visit TexasRangers.com Authentics to learn more. And it is indeed the top of the 6th inning. It only took me 3 times to figure that out. We have a new pitcher now, and Dylan G has come on and taken over here for Yu Darvish, and you see his pitch arsenal. You talk about a deep arsenal. 6 pitches for him. That 4-seam fastball and slider both equally used 30% of the time.
Well, he is on, and he will see the bottom 3rd of the order for the Astros. And he gets one in there for a strike to Gurriel. Gurriel 0 for 2. The line out and the strikeout. Pushed off the plate a couple of times by Darvish. Hits this one on the ground up the middle. Andrews to his left. Kind of hustle it. And he gets it there in time. Gurriel is out.
Third baseman Alex Bregman.
We'll bring up Alex Bregman, who is also 0 for 2. Now Darvish went 5 innings today and gave up 3 runs on 7 hits. Walked 1, struck out 8. And just looking back at some of the hits that he allowed today, I mean, obviously there was the one that was hit very hard by Correa, but a couple of doubles in there as well. Correa with the 3-run homer, and that's the difference in the game.
And you think about that pitch, and it was a breaking ball that ended up staying over the middle of the plate after Carlos Correa had swung and missed at one in the dirt. I think it was just kind of gives you an indicator how the breaking ball was today. Sharp and live, without a doubt, like we usually see from Yu Darvish, but the command on that pitch was not exactly where he wanted it tonight, and there were a lot of pitches thrown. When it was all said and done, 104 over those 5 innings. But had Carlos Correa not hit that home run, let's just say Yu Darvish gets out of that inning, you're still looking at a pretty high pitch count in one of those nights where Yu Darvish is scattering hits and pitching himself out of trouble. He unfortunately could not do it that last time in the 5th.
Bouncer, third base. Beltre backs up. Plenty of time to make the throw. Bregman erased. 2 gone.
Outfielder Nori Aoki.
And that'll bring up Marichka Aoki, who is closing in on 2,000 hits in his time spent both here in the major leagues and back in Japan.
Now I go first name Norichika. Would you said something a little.
Norichka.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Well, pretty sure.
I know you're putting the time in. I
So-
am not.
Help me with this club. When he gets to the 2,000 club, I'll give you a word for you to work on.
Yeah.
When you get to the 2,000 hit mark, you get automatic entrance into this club. It's translated as the Golden Players Club in Japan, kind of the equivalent of our Hall of Fame here stateside. And it's I want to say it's the Mikeyuki Club.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I should be better at this. Well, definitely is Kai. Finishes in Kai because it's
Okay.
Kai. Ooh, that's a good one. I'd say Mai Kukai.
Crying out loud! I thought you played over there.
I did. Mai Kukai. That's what I'm going with.
I'm worried about it. If you're ordering at a restaurant, I'm concerned right now about what we're going to actually be served.
Uniku. Beef.
Oh. Well, that's what Oki had yesterday.
That's right. But that's interesting. So you said 6 players total. So they'll allow it. Now, obviously, those aren't all 6 here in the States, just period, whether you have 2,000 hits in Japan solo, right?
Right.
Because there hasn't been, I'm trying to think, who outside of Ichiro, who else would have 2,000 combined hits? I guess there's probably a couple of guys that might have been approaching that number that then played here.
Kaz Matsui did it a few years ago. This one Puts Aoki on. 2 outs, a base runner now for the top of the order. So I just happen to recall it when Kaz did it a few years ago. I think it took him like 5 or 6 days, and there was a guy with like a golden jacket from Japan who was following the team forever, and he just wanted to. At some point, it was like, I just want to get this over with. I just want to give you this coat, get you in the Golden Players Club, and get out of here. And it took forever. Matsui just couldn't get it done, but he finally did in Milwaukee, and they did the presentation after the game in Milwaukee. Everybody had left, and it was kind of disappointing, I think, just because it was like this afterthought.
Yeah, like it was it's part of his obligation. Like the guy
Right.
had to do it. He wasn't necessarily into it and super excited about
Yeah, the grounds crew is tamping down the clay around the home plate, and I mean, it's just
Had to get the picture.
yeah. Springer takes one low, 2-0 the count.
So I'm looking real quick here. So Matsui, 615 hits here. So yeah, the bulk of the work for him. That's the one thing you forget about it. Some of the guys that have spent a decent amount, a long time in Japan, maybe come here and play a little bit, have that opportunity to get in the club. But actually, 6 actually starts to sound a little low to me now when you think about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. That seems low to me. Aoki has stolen 3 bases this year in 4 attempts, so G checks in on him briefly. Springer is 1 for 3. Reached on an infield hit in the 3rd inning. Struck out looking his last time up, and he was not at all pleased with the strike 3 call. She comes up and in.
Any other benefits besides the golden jacket?
Not that, I mean, the lifetime recognition, of course, in Japan. But no, I don't think, I don't know if there's any additional reward.
I keep thinking, as we're having this conversation, of Happy Gilmore wearing the guy chasing the. Was it the yellow jacket? Or was that golden? I'm not going to say the line.
This one is a strike. How about that high strike call? I'm trying to go to my happy place here. There's the gold jacket, I believe. We don't need to go down that road any further. 3 runs in the 5th inning for the Astros. She's 3-1, and it is fouled away.
See the animated George Springer. He is just frustrated tonight. Was frustrated with a couple of calls that he felt went against him. Then also frustrated with himself, I think, on that swing, feeling like that's a pitch that he should have been able to handle in a really good hitter's count and just missing it. He's a really interesting guy because you wonder about him a little bit. Great talent, great athlete. If you could take a little bit of that Jose Altuve, cut it down a little bit with 2 strikes, you just wonder if he'd be a little bit of a better hitter.
Well, swinging strikeout of Springer ends the inning. Boy, he is fired up. Been a frustrating night for him. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Rangers down by 3. Need to get something going offensively.
Frustrated umpires, frustrated at himself.
All right, time for the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. And tonight's jackpot, $1,000 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Marianne Hart from North Richland Hills, our contestant. The Ranger hits a home run this inning. Well, Marianne will win $1,000. If they hit a grand slam, then Marianne will win $25,000. So that's what's on the line here. As Delano DeShields starts off the 6th inning with a foul ball.
Now, usually we think, okay, Dallas Keuchel pitching, maybe not your greatest night that you'd want to be picked for the Sonic Slam inning. He has allowed 6 home runs this year. So far has looked locked in with that two-seam fastball and has done a great job of keeping the baseball on the ground tonight.
And slapped away foul. 0-2 the count. Keuchel absolutely in control tonight. He has hardly broken a sweat on this very humid evening, and he strikes out DeShields to start the 6th inning. And lately, the strikeouts starting to pile up for him.
Yeah, you see the breaking ball there for Delano DeShields, but how about the night that Dallas Keuchel has had so far? And it's only been 5 1/3, but he has been locked in, and we see him here earlier against Delano DeShields, finishing him off with a breaking ball. There's Shin-Shu Chu. There's a backdoor breaking ball caught looking. Another breaking ball outside of the zone. And once in a while, mixing that fastball in, and then that last one to Delano DeShields. I mean, it has just really been artistry so far here from Dallas Keuchel, using all his pitches well, effectively. But it seems like he's just picking the right time to throw that breaking ball, or to go inside with the fastball to the righty, mixing that changeup. It hasn't been a ton, but every time he does it, it just seems to be right pitch at the right time.
One and one to Chu. Rolled out to second base in the 1st inning. And then the strikeout came in the 3rd. Rangers have had just 2 base runners so far. And it's 1-2. Keuchel's season high this year is 9 strikeouts. He's done it a couple of times. Pitch count is going to give him room to go another couple of innings perhaps in this one. And he gets Chu looking. So his 2nd strikeout in the 6th inning.
There's the comfort level right now for Dallas Keuchel. These Rangers hitters are trying to figure out how they can get him out of it. See that front door pitch right there. Brian McCann, nice job of giving it a good look to Ted Barrett. Looked like it might have been a little bit down, but McCann very good at receiving and framing that one up.
So 7 punch outs now for Keuchel, and here's Andrews, who is 0 for 2. And he hits this ball down the left field line, but it is hooking foul. Andrews on a 7-game hitting streak. You can make it 8. That's a base hit into right field. Just the 2nd tonight for a Ranger. A base runner on. And it has been a big day for Elvis Andrus. A little more on that. Let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, a big off day for Elvis Andrus as he is playing his 1st game as a married man. He and his former fiance, now wife, Corey, got married yesterday in a ceremony with family at their home. And they will, of course, have their 1st child coming up in about a month or so, but made it official yesterday, announcing their marriage. They'll have a celebration in the off season, but they went ahead and tied the knot yesterday, guys. So Elvis Andrus, a married man.
Good for him. And now a base hit into right field. And Elvis to second base. So Lucroy with his first hit of the night, and it brings the potential tying run to the plate in the 6th inning.
You love this approach here from Jonathan Lucroy and Elvis Andrus right before him. Dallas Keuchel's been good, and so how do you beat him? You take what he gives you and hope that you can get that ball into the outfield. And you see the head down there from Jonathan, who's done such a nice job of driving the ball the other way. But with Elvis being held at first, there's a big gap on the right side, and Lucroy is able to poke this ball through now the right side, and just like that, all of a sudden the tying run comes to the plate here for the Rangers.
And that tying run in the form of Adrian Beltre. Beltre had the double in the 4th inning. So he has hit in every game since coming back off the disabled list. 5 hits now in 4 games, including 3 doubles.
It's looked pretty comfortable as far as how Adrian Beltre has swung the bat since he has come back. He's been taking pitches well also, and it's been a nice time to get that first home run of the season since coming off the DL. Certainly Marianne's hoping for it.
Oh, no doubt. Beltre 14 career hits against Dallas Keuchel. I guess you can make it 15 now with his double tonight. One of those a home run. He has Andrus at second, Lucroy at first. And it's 2-0.
I did mention 6 home runs allowed by Dallas Keuchel so far this season. 5 of those have come against right-handed hitters. He has crushed lefties this year. 114 coming into this game with just 1 home run allowed. So this is the spot with a lefty on deck.
It's 3-0.
How about the 2-0 changeup, thinking he's got Adrian in maybe a swing count, fastball count, thinking he could get away with one. The idea there is that you get a guy to swing and get contact, maybe catch him out front for a weak pop-up, but Adrian was not offering.
Green light Beltre here?
Absolutely. He's earned it. He knows what he's looking for. Might be the best pitch you get the rest of the at-bat.
He's taking, and that's ball 4. And so they'll load it up. Well, the Astros rally came with 2 outs in the 5th inning. Reddick had a base hit. Altuve followed with a 2-out double. And then it was Correa's 3-run homer. Well, in this case, with 2 outs, back-to-back hits by Andrus and Lucroy, and a walk to Beltre.
All right, so Marianne was thinking maybe Adrian Beltre there. He can get a little greedy and go for the grand slam. Why not? Here's that opportunity. $25,000 on the line. More importantly, the go-ahead run for the Rangers.
Well, the tying runs are out there. Odor 0 for 2. Takes strike 1. Odor has had great career numbers against the Astros. Nearly a .320 batting average in 34 games. With some decent power as well, but he has not had great success against Dallas Keuchel. 1-1 the count.
The thing about Odor, you watch him play and you see him every day. It doesn't matter to him, right? This is not a guy that ever will step in the box feeling defeated, going up against Dallas Keuchel, a guy who's had his number. Doesn't matter. It is every at-bat, one at a time. And I don't know if I've ever seen a time where Odor stepped in the box and looked like he was lacking confidence. It does not matter to him.
Just 2 hits in his career against Keuchel. One of them, though, a home run. So not like he's cutting down on his swing just because it's a tough lefty. He would love to run into one right here. Came up with a big home run on that last road trip back to a week ago tonight in Toronto. 9th inning when he hit that 3-run homer. Bases loaded here. The 1-2. He stays alive. 39,729. The announced paid attendance tonight, and so many of them hung out through the 2-hour rain delay. They've been rewarded with some great baseball tonight. A 3-0 Astros lead, bottom of the 6th, but the Rangers have them loaded. And Odor fights off another.
And you see him shaking his head there, and he should be. That's a great job of fouling that pitch off. If you remember the previous at bat when Rougned Odor swung and missed at this exact same pitch, and ultimately that's what struck him out. And he is thrilled to get another opportunity because it was followed by a good inside pitch from Dallas Keuchel. He set up that breaking ball perfectly, and Odor was able to spoil it with the foul ball.
20th pitch of the inning coming for Keuchel. And it's inside. It's 2-2.
We'll see if he goes with that same exact pattern again, where it is fastball in, then come back with the breaking ball away. Now you start to get to that 2-2 count. You don't want to go 3-2, so you're not nearly as confident sweeping that pitch out of the zone. And I believe for Dallas Keuchel, he wants to throw a strike here or something close to it. Does not want to go to the full count.
Odor will take an extra moment. Two and two. And that roller going to be picked up down at first by Gurriel. It'll end the inning, so the Rangers had them loaded, but can't get anybody home. We're off to the 7th.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to video boards.
Take you into this at bat with Rougned Odor, maybe the biggest of the game, at least so far tonight. Takes a fastball for a strike, looks at another fastball. Then we see the swing, the foul tip. Does a good job of fouling off that slider in a big spot. Takes a fastball in here, and then a pretty good slider from Dallas Keuchel to get the ground out that Odor ends up on the 3-0. But you see him here coming down the line a little bit as he ran hard out of the box. Looked like he was limping a little bit, but he has stayed in the game.
So now we go to the 7th inning, and Reddick takes strike one. Reddick 1 for 3. Had a huge 2-out hit in the 5th inning that kept the inning going and ultimately led to the 3-run homer by Correa. 1-1. G deals, and this one lined foul. G's 2nd inning in relief tonight for Yu Darvish. Put up a scoreless 6th inning, allowing just the walk. There's 1-2. And a bouncer down the first base line. Napoli bobbled it a couple of times, throws it to G covering, and they take care of Reddick. 1 away. That one, had you hold your breath there for a moment.
It was a good job by Mike Napoli to ultimately corral this ball, find it, and make sure he delivers the good throws. Ball's hit down the line, took a little bit of a funky bounce, but it catches off his glove, but you see him stay with it and decide to go with the overhand throw. And that's kind of an in-betweener, which could be a tough throw for a first baseman. You say, what's so tough about it? It's not that far. Well, you have the option there of maybe going underhand, a little bit of a longer underhand throw, or you can go overhand, but then you think about wanting to be careful of throwing that ball too hard to the pitcher who's covering. So Mike Napoli does a nice job of going overhand, but not necessarily throwing that ball full speed and delivering a strike to G.
First pitch, bouncer shortstop. Andrews circles it, takes care of Altuve. 2 gone.
Hey, Rangers fans, make sure you come out June 7th for an autograph session with Matt Bush at the Whataburger at 3845 South Carrier Parkway in Grand Prairie at 10:30 a.m. And while there, sign up to be a Whataburger What a Fan, and you could win tickets to a Rangers game and Whataburger for an entire year. Visit TexasRangers.com/appearances for more information. Tell you what, Whataburger sounds really good,
really
right,
good
about
right
now.
now. Oh boy.
Wasn't that Mike Bassick talking about in the pregame about rain delays and eating? And yeah, I'm feeling it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, approaching 11:30 after a 2-hour rain delay tonight. Correa has delivered the big hit of this game. That was his last time up in the 5th, and bounces this one left side of the infield. Beltre allows Andrews to take it, and he gets Correa to win the inning. A 7-pitch 7th inning for Dylan G. Now we go to the bottom of the 7th, but not before we let you stay here for God Bless America as we turn it over to Chuck Morgan.
Will you please rise and direct your attention to the area behind home plate and welcome Brent Kern. In honor of all the veterans who have served our country and the servicemen and women who are currently stationed at home and around the world, Brent will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
The Astros leading the Rangers by a score of 3-0. And Rangers fans, here's a giveaway that's just in time for summer. On Saturday, June 17th, the Rangers will take on the Mariners at 4:05 p.m. The first 15,000 fans of the ballpark will be treated to a No Marmazara Big Chill cooler backpack. That's going to be courtesy of Dairy Max. Get your tickets today by calling 972-RANGERS, or you can always visit TexasRangers.com.
Well, nicely done. Jake Marisnick has come in to play left field. And Chris Davinsky, in his 19th appearance out of the bullpen, checks in the game in relief of Dallas Keuchel. Napoli spoils one foul. The count 0-2. It'll be Napoli, Ryan Rua, and Robinson Chirinos in this 7th inning. Rangers managed just 3 hits against Keuchel in his 6 innings. And that is strike 3 on Napoli. All right, time for us to take a Chevy game break. Let's see if we can find John Radigan again.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. For the Rangers, number 31, Jared Loing. Pitching for Ryan Rua. Jared Loing, number 31. Pitching for Rua.
All right, thanks, John. John, no doubt, off to Whataburger now for a little late night run for everybody. Hoying pinch hitting here for Ryan Rua. 1 out. Now the rookies of the month for May were announced. Aaron Judge, no surprise in the American League. Cody Bellinger, 9 home runs. I mean, really ridiculous numbers when you get in the National League.
Well, here's the thing I thought that John was going to say. So he hit a home run tonight. Bellinger did. That's the 12th of his early career here, right? A rookie just got to the big leagues. He now has as many home runs as his dad had in his entire big league career. Now, his dad played parts of 4 seasons with the Yankees and the Angels and had 311 at bats, 344 plate appearances, and he had a grand total of 12 home runs. I mean, you're talking about some unbelievable bragging rights at home. Not that it was ever in doubt. I think we all kind of picked up on it pretty quickly that Cody Bellinger was going to be better than his father, Clay. But yeah, now they both now have 12 home runs in the big leagues, but it only took Cody 131 at bats.
One spoils one here. The count 3-2. Chris Davinsky, 3 wins, 3 losses, a couple of saves this year. You saw his numbers earlier, the 290 earned run average. He threw a couple of innings of scoreless relief the other day. I guess it was Tuesday when they were in Minnesota. And he walks Jared Hoying with 1 out in the 7th. Davinsky, big time strikeout man out of the bullpen for the Astros. Came in with 47 strikeouts tonight.
13.7 strikeout rate per 9 for Davinsky, who's been very good and kind of has that unusual mix. The pitch he throws most is actually his changeup. He has been really valuable in this bullpen, and a bullpen that has been very good. But yeah, you mentioned the great strikeout rate. A good fastball, not a great fastball by today's standards, but a good one that sits around 94 miles an hour. But it is the plus changeup that he has, and this is an Astros bullpen that is the best when it comes to strikeouts per 9. They come in and just generate a ton of swings and misses as a group. 11.4 per 9 innings. That's the best in all of Major League Baseball.
Now Robinson Chirinos 0 for 2. Davinsky, 26 years old, and he was a guy the Astros acquired from the White Sox. There's a bunt laid down first base side. Davinsky will underhand it to first and get Chirinos. Moves Hoying to second base with 2 outs.
That wasn't an intended sacrifice. There is no way that they were sacrificing in that situation. I'll see if he gets credited one. We're with 1 out, down by 3. You are not sacrifice bunting in that situation. Robinson Chirino saw a big hole on the right side and tried to push this ball based on what he saw from the defensive shifts to try to bunt for a hit, but he couldn't get the ball past Davinsky.
Yeah, that was kind of confusing, really.
It's for a base hit. I know it sounds confusing, and for people that hate the bunt, I get it, but he definitely was not giving himself up there. He was trying to push this ball past Davinsky, try to push it hard to second base because the way the defense was aligned, he probably could have slowed it down at first. Let's take a look here as far as how the high home look here. I mean, look where the second baseman Altuve is set up. So he's just trying to bunt this ball just somewhere over there. If he does it, like I said, easy base hit.
Was he trying to go maybe a little harder by the mound and a little bit further to the left towards second?
He's probably almost trying to bunt that ball into the outfield, to be honest with you. Because if you can pull the first baseman off, where if he's the one that has to get the ball, it's an automatic base hit. Only downside, if you watch Davinsky and you watch him here, he opens up big time. It's very unusual, his mechanics, but he falls off to the first base side too. So maybe not the perfect guy to do that against.
So Hoying at second base. No sacrifice was granted Chirinos. And now Nomar Mazara pinch hitting here for Delano DeShields. He's on a little 4-game hitting streak. Remember, he had a long hitting streak that ended in a pinch hit appearance in Boston. This one popped up back of third. Playable. And Bregman puts it away. The inning is over. So the Rangers leave a man at second base. We go to the 8th, 3-0 Houston. The 8th inning. This is an Astros team that can put runs on people in a hurry. Lately, they've been flexing their muscles. With their offensive rankings, they're impressive. But I don't know that it does justice to the way they've been swinging the bats lately.
No, and this is a team that is very aggressive at the plate. We've seen it tonight, and don't mind the strikeouts. It's part of what they do, but it's aggressiveness regardless of count pretty much across the board. Then you mix in a great all-around hitter like Jose Altuve. It's just a dangerous lineup. 1 through 9, they're very strong. They can do some damage all the way around. And the big change for them has been, for me, is bringing a guy like this in, and Brian McCann, who we also saw in that animation. Adding veterans who have been there and done that may have been the biggest key for them. They've already had the good young players in place, but now it's having those young guys that can do things like Mike Napoli can do, which is the great conversations that you have in the clubhouse, on the bus, on the plane, wherever it may be. Those are invaluable to young stars.
Saw the couple of defensive changes for the Rangers. Boy, Beltran shoots one to the left side and then absolutely rips that one to the right side foul. Those are a couple of loud strikes by Beltran. singled in that 5th inning. That came right after the home run by Correa. And hits this one in the air, foul down the right side again.
We talk about that with Beltran, with Reddick, with Brian McCann being such key signings and acquisitions for this club. But it's almost ironic based on where they were. Obviously, they had all those bad years and got themselves the first overall pick 3 years in a row. They start turning it around. They become kind of, you know, the poster boys for how you want to do a rebuild. But the one missing piece for them up to this point was actually adding what they have been trying to subtract and stay away from, which is older, veteran players who, yeah, their production may be on the downside. They're not the smartest kind of players to invest in, but they actually had to buy into the other things that these kind of guys bring to the table, right? The intrinsic values that they bring, the intangibles. That's not really a phrase that a new age front office is comfortable necessarily saying, and I think admitting to, but I think they've seen the early results.
Hard ground ball to first. Napoli with a good pick, and he overthrows Dylan G. Left that a little high. G got a glove on it, but couldn't bring it back down. And Beltran is aboard on the error. One charge to Napoli on the throw.
We'll see this ground ball hit here by Beltran. Was it pretty decent? A little firm. Mike Napoli gets there, fields it cleanly, and just kind of slows it down a little bit and gets under that throw. Dylan G was in there in plenty of time. When you're in that situation, you're playing quarterback because you're trying to lead your pitch. You're not throwing it to where he is, but just in front trying to get that to him. As you see the footwork there for Mike Napoli. So just getting away from him.
Bouncer first base. This time Napoli bobbles it and will have to take it to first himself. He thought about, no doubt, trying to start a double play, but instead Beltran will be at second with 1 out.
First baseman, Gurriel.
You mentioned it, Mike Napoli with another chance here, and you start thinking ahead a little bit, but unfortunately didn't catch it cleanly, so he does the smart thing and doesn't try to make a mess out of it. There's a lot of times where something like this happens and you'll get a player, a younger, more inexperienced player, try to make something out of that instead of just taking the out. Mike Napoli does the smart thing and takes the out.
So 1 away for Gurriel. And he hits this ball hard down the left field line, but it is hooking toward the corner, and that is a fair ball. Beltran scores easily, and that's an RBI double for Gurriel, and it is a 4-0 Astros lead. And a tough unearned run.
I said this about Gurriel before. He is aggressive, and he jumps on a first pitch cutter that is up in the zone. I also mentioned how he sees the least amount of pitches of anybody in Major League Baseball. And if you go off speed early, especially in an RBI situation, runners in scoring position, you're going to get an aggressive swing. And you see this ball take a pretty strange bounce down there in left field, but Nomar Mazara, the new left fielder, having to chase it down.
So Gurriel out there at second base now for Alex Bregman. 3 runs to the 5th, another in this 8th inning. Bregman bounces it to third. Beltre will retire his opposite number, 2 away. So this Astros team, they put up a lot of runs. They have, frankly, they just keep winning. And they have been winning games at an unbelievable clip. 38-16, as you see there on the right. And through 54 games, where does that stack up with some of the other great starts in Major League history? Well, that's pretty good company.
It certainly is. That Seattle Mariners team and what they did in 2001 with those 116 wins, which did not end, who knows, in a World Series title for them. But as far as regular season glory, just crushing teams pretty considerably through your first 54. The Astros obviously right there with some of the best we've ever seen.
And Mariners team in 01 tied the Major League record with 116 victories in the regular season. Mark McLemore big part of that 0-1 team, and another former Ranger, Jeff Nelson, part of that bullpen. Oh, look out, that one got a piece, and Marisnick heads down to first base.
Well, no intent here at all from Dylan G. Just a two-seam fastball that gets away. He kind of runs up and in. He's trying to throw that ball down, and like he just flew open just a tiny bit. That arm drags, and you get that little extra sail.
So 2 men on now, and back to the top of the order for George Springer. 4 runs, 8 hits for the Astros. No runs, 3 hits for the Rangers. Springer 1 for 4, had the infield hit. He's also struck out a couple of times tonight. This ball golfed out to center field. Pretty well struck. Back on it is Hoying, and that is long gone. A 3-run homer for George Springer. His 14th of the year. And that one opens this up. Makes it a 7-0 Astros lead.
We mentioned it, George Springer very aggressive. You see the changeup grip there from Dylan G, and a pitch that ended up finishing out over the plate. Watch Robinson Chirinos reach back to get this one. He's a very good low ball hitter, especially on off-speed pitches, and always takes that big swing. And it was a tremendous pop. That was a bomb to dead center.
Well, empties the bases for Josh Reddick. He's in a hole now, 0-2. Penn made a pretty nice play out there on Greens Hill.
Tremendous play. They go running across like that. Got to hop the fence. Got to not slip on some wet grass. And you got to try to make a clean play. We saw one there.
Well, Reddick strikes out swinging to end the 8th. But a 4-run top of the 8th it was. A lot of work left for these Rangers. They'll go to the top of the order. Chu will lead it off. Then Andrews and Jonathan Lucroy. All right, taking a look at our Ford game summary. couple of big 3-run homers by the Astros tonight. Correa in the 5th inning, Springer just moments ago in the 8th, and Dallas Keuchel once again pitching very well. 6 shutout innings, 7 strikeouts for him. He was getting ground balls all night, and it's a 7-0 Astros lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Will Harris out of the bullpen for the Astros.
You see the numbers there and the great job that he has done. Another guy who's contributed in a big way to what has been a very good bullpen here in Houston with the Astros. We'll have the top of the order now here to face against the Rangers.
Chu tonight 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. And it's 1-1. Harris has a couple of saves this year to go along with that 1-1 record. Been with the Astros since 2015, and it's been a guy they've used a lot. 110 appearances. Falls behind 2-1.
You see a lot of cutters from Will Harris, and that's what he features. It'll sit right around 91, 92 miles an hour, but 72% of the time he's throwing a cutter. Other than that, it's the curveball. It'll register sometimes as a 4-seam fastball. It's kind of a natural, true cutter that he throws.
Bouncing ball over to the right side, and Altuve takes care of Chu, 1 away.
It's a little surprised to see Dallas Keuchel come out of the game with just 89 pitches. He'd been as high as 117 earlier this season. It really did seem locked in. Now, I know this offense has been strong late. They scored a lot of runs late, and so maybe for whatever reason, A.J. Hinch felt pretty good about that and getting him out when he did. It wasn't much of a high-intensity outing either, right? He was cruising along pretty smoothly, but they've turned it over to the bullpen. Maybe with the day off, some guys obviously well-rested, wanted to keep everybody sharp. I thought we would have saw Keuchel stay in there a little bit longer.
Now Andrews. Elvis today 1 for 3. Yeah, it was a little bit surprising. The only inning Dallas Keuchel really had to work a little bit was in that 6th. You know, he gave up a 2-out single to both Andrews and Lucroy, and then walked Adrian Beltre, although it just looked like he might not have been pitching with great intent to Adrian Beltre. 0-2 now here on Andrews. But that was really it. Other than that, it was pretty smooth sailing for him in the first 5 innings. But Davinsky is scoreless 7th. Now Will Harris. You know, you've made mention that this is a pretty nice little bullpen that they've cobbled together in Houston and had recently. We haven't seen a lot of Ken Giles the last couple of years. And that is to say last year and then early this year. But he's an excellent power arm closer that they got from the Phillies. And you know, Davinsky, who was really good, gave way here to Will Harris. Harris, there's a little note about Harris with relief pitchers with at least 100 innings pitched in their career. He's 2nd in franchise history in Houston with a .213 earned run average. The only guy who's been better in this franchise's history was Chris Davinsky, who we just saw. There's a swinging strikeout of Andrews. There are 2 away.
I was going to guess Billy Wagner.
I mean, Wagner was very good. Brad Lidge was good. Dave Smith back in the day. They've had some good closers, great relievers in their history, but I guess the numbers are showing that they've had some of their best right now. And that's one of the other things that makes them pretty dangerous. 2 outs. Here's Jonathan Lucroy. Think about guys like Harris and Davinsky. A.J. Hinch has felt comfortable using them a lot. Multiple innings at times, back-to-back-to-back days, plenty. And they have responded. I mean, that's a good, a lot of managers like to use certain guys over and over again, but these 2 have really responded well for him. And a bouncer down to 3rd. Bregman was positioned perfectly. And that will put an end to a 1-2-3 bottom of the 8th. So the Rangers go quietly as we head to the 9th. This one all Houston tonight.
TNT high-speed replay. Tonight, unfortunately, it is all Astros with the home run from Carlos Correa on the 1-1 breaking ball. And it had been a pretty frustrating night for George Springer until this at-bat where he got a changeup from Dylan G and was able to hit it to center field for a big bomb and a nice catch flag. What I thought originally was a child, but that guy had a beard. It was not a child. That is our AT&T high-speed replay. A couple of home runs tonight have been the difference here for the Astros.
And a man catch out on Greens Hill.
When I saw it live from here, this far, I was like, oh, it was a great catch by that kid. Nope.
Well, G stays out there in this 9th inning and will face the 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Jose Altuve, who has been on 3 times, is a single, a double, a walk. And G in relief of Yu Darvish. Darvish went 5 innings, but the pitch count just blew up on him.
This would be a nice outing for Dylan G when it's all said and done. If you can finish off this 9th inning, pick up 4 innings, save the rest of the bullpen. Yes, 4 of those runs were charged in. None of them, by the way, were earned because of the error that happened earlier in the inning, and then it would have been over prior to the runs being scored. But just the idea of him picking up 4 innings, saving the bullpen potentially, hugely valuable.
One and 2 on Altuve. Ooh, and he chased one upstairs. Strike 3. 1 away in the 9th inning. Well, treat your dad to tickets to a Rangers game this year for Father's Day. It's going to be June 18th. Rangers taking on the Mariners, a 2:05 game. First 15,000 fans 14 and older receive a Father's Day cheesy Rangers shirt courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Kroger. And as a dad, I'm digging that.
Yes. So it's a dad cheesy shirt, right?
Yeah.
But that's a kid like. Those are awesome. That's an awesome pajama shirt. That would be. You would love that as a kid.
Listen, I would love that as a me.
Yeah.
That is a great shirt for a myriad uses. Go to TexasRangers.com to get your tickets or call 972 Rangers. Digging that shirt. Pajama thing seems to be a big deal lately, right? What is going on with the romper or whatever for men?
The romp him, you mean?
Whatever.
It's not going to work. They're trying to force it on us. It's not going to work. I know Steve's not going to wear one. I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
You won't catch me in one.
I mean, you got to have some wheels to pull it off. That's the big thing. If you're going to go that route, you better have some legs. You and I do not have those.
You got the chicken calves, though,
Yeah,
right?
chicken calves.
There's a swinging strikeout of Correa. And 2 away in this 9th inning. Hey, by the way, we're talking about what Dylan G has done for the bullpen today. We haven't really talked about the news today in the Rangers bullpen, and that is the news we got earlier this afternoon. Sam Dyson was designated for assignment. Jose Leclerc activated and joined the bullpen today. Great to get Jose Leclerc back, but that was really, that is kind of a bombshell announcement about Dyson as a bouncer to the right side. Tough play. Odor with a bare hand in time. Boy, nicely done. And it will end the inning. We'll go to the 9th. Rangers need a lot of base runners, down by 7. Brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. Seven nothing. Astros leading as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. By the way, tomorrow, AT&T matchup. Lance McCullers, Andrew Kashner. 6 o'clock broadcast on the mothership. CJ Nikowski will be at the wheel of that bad boy.
Be a good one. We see there from, of course, Andrew Kashner. The record does not reflect how he has thrown this year. Should be another good pitching matchup. McCullers just coming off of that American League Pitcher of the Month award that he got in May. So we'll see how that goes. And now, like I said, it seemed like A.J. Hinch wanted to get some of his arms in there, and despite the fact that it is a 7-0 game, he's got his closer Ken Giles in there now against Adrian Beltre.
Yeah, interesting. He's got a big arm, and Beltre hits this one a long way out to left field, and it is gone. That's a no-doubter by Adrian Beltre, his first home run back off the disabled list. Astros won't get shut out tonight. A 7-1 ball game. Well, the Rangers won't get shut out tonight.
Adrian Beltre was in a good count, and he knows that Ken Giles brings a big fastball, one that can touch triple digits. Got to get it started early, got to get the foot down. He does all of those and barrels up this ball and drills it to left center field. Like I said, his first home run of the year. Good to see Adrian get on the board.
So this his 4th game back, and he has really been swinging it well. 2 more hits tonight, a double and a home run. He has 3 doubles, a home run, And I think 2 singles since coming back off the disabled list. Very short order. Odor shanks this one out of play. It's 1-1. Well, that was home run number 446 in Beltre's career. A lot of top 20, top 30 charts that he continues to climb this year as he is walking down 3,000 hits here in the not too distant future. That's the big one. This ball hit high in the air down the right side, but foul, and that'll be up in the seats.
As we're talking about Ken Giles pitching in what was a 7-0 game when he first came in to start this 9th inning. Part of that is he hasn't pitched since last Friday against the Baltimore Orioles. So you're looking at a week since he has last been in a game. He had pitched back-to-back games leading into that one. Pitched, looks like, I guess, 4 out of 6, 4 out of 5. You just don't like the idea of overworking your closer is one thing, but then on the flip side of that, I don't like him sitting around too long either. A week off is a long time for any reliever.
He strikes out Odor, 1 away in the 9th.
First baseman, Mike Napoli.
Well, that'll bring up Napoli, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. Three runs in the 5th inning for the Astros tonight, and then 4 unearned runs in the 8th inning. Well, those were awfully big. Beltre's homer gets the Rangers on the board at the very least tonight. Napoli waiting on a 1-0 from Ken Giles. Breaking ball. Giles was one of the more high-profile acquisitions that the Astros made in the previous couple of years. One of those deals that said, you know what, we're going to compete maybe sooner than later. When they made that deal, added a real big arm to the back of that bullpen, suddenly they were starting to take shape as a team that would really command some respect. And from the acquisition of Giles forward, they have continued to add pieces here and there as Napoli pops this one up third base side, heading into foul ground. Bregman there, though. 2 gone.
I think it definitely signified the change. A couple of things that happened there with the Astros, but that certainly was one of them. And then last year got off to a rough start, had kind of an off season where he ended up allowing 8 home runs, but a lot of those had come early in the season. And you saw it with him. He's a highly emotional guy and really kind of fits in, really, if you think about the aggressive nature of this team. That ultimately goes back to, I think, why they felt like they needed to bring in some veteran leadership, even though, you know, Jose Altuve has been here for a while, and you think maybe a couple of the other guys are kind of ready to make that change and turn the corner a little bit. But no, they felt like they had to bring some guys in, and I think that's part of it. Even though they're all position players, obviously Brian McCann has a pretty big influence over the pitchers, but Giles fits in right in there with that group of young, talented, highly aggressive players on this Astros team.
Hoying rips this one into the glove of Gurriel, and that ends the game. Now the Rangers got the home run from Adrian Beltre.